starting?
Well, oh, look what you've done. We're full on started. It's a new day. It's a new week.
I'm snapping selfies.
It's a selfie season. It's the season for selfies. And guess what else, Lyndon? It's a brand spanking new year.
I forgot about that.
2021, baby.
2021.
A New Year's episode, if you will. We're one day off. It's New Year's Day days.
It's New Year's Day plus one.
Plus one. Where it's New Year's Day plus one, and it's what do we call that? Does that have a name?
It's called January 2nd.
It's called January 2nd, and it's called a Saturday.
It happens every year.
Happens every year since the dawn of time. Do you think there was a dawn of time?
No.
Okay, so anyway, back to what we were saying before.
Don't make me quote, if you could hide a kolob.
That's a great song and a great pull, and thank you for mentioning it. You have some Mandalorian socks on.
Yeah, those were a Christmas gift. I think our last episode was a Thanksgiving episode.
Yeah, our last.
We got New Year's, Christmas,
yeah,
Remembrance Day.
We got Remembrance
Actually,
Day.
I think our last episode was
a Remembrance Day episode.
We gave shout-outs to the vets.
We were all about the vets last time. We were like, thank you, vets. It's been so long since we've podcasted. I forget how to speak and how to talk to other humans.
You've been in isolation for so long.
I have been in isolation. Are you outing me here, Lyndon? Is this where we do it?
You know what? The listeners are worried.
Is this where I confess?
Actually, they haven't been worried. Usually, I know it's been a long time since an episode because people are like, hey, Lyndon, when's the next ep?
Yeah.
Miss the eps so much. No one misses the eps anymore.
No, we're at that point where this is literally just a it's an excuse for us to get together and chat, I suppose.
Yep.
And that's it. There's no other person.
Hey, some people get
listen.
utility out of this.
Some people listen to this.
Lately, it's been the Star Wars breakdown episodes.
Yeah.
People enjoy that.
I think that's our new niche. I think we should change maybe this. Do we just rebrand completely?
Star mission stories?
Star mission stories. I think we talk enough about Star Wars and and sort of the same amount about everything else that maybe it's as much a Star Wars podcast as it ever was a mission stories podcast.
It is Paula, my mother-in-law, former true and faithful. Not so much anymore. She's not a diligent listener anymore. She's like, I just wish there were more mission stories.
Yeah.
She was like, do you need help finding she's like, I'll find returned missionaries to go on your podcast. And I was like,
good gravy.
And I was like, that's not the problem, Paula.
That's the last thing we want.
I was like, the problem is that you find some 20-year-old scrub who just came home from Argentina. And he's like, I've got some stories to tell about serving a mission during COVID.
And they're like, oh boy, do I have some stories to tell. And everyone thinks their stories are great. That's
us.
Yeah.
We thought our mission stories were great. They were not.
That was the lesson that we learned.
We had to cancel an entire episode because we listened back to it and we're like, this is the worst.
Due to lack of interest from ourselves.
Yeah.
And there are stories. Yeah.
I was riding a bike and this dog was barking at me. It was really aggressive.
It was an aggressive dog.
Oh, really? Did it bite you?
What
no.
happened? A little bit.
It tried, I think.
And then it was fine. Unless the story is it severed 16 nerves in my wrist, and then we had to go to the hospital, and
It's like my mission president, thank goodness, was a surgeon.
Yeah, and then
he did it himself on the street.
Yeah, he flew in a jetpack to come visit us.
He got on his private jet.
Yeah.
Called it in.
One county over. He flew to 30,000 feet, then came all the way back down to the street I was on and reattached my nerves from this golden retriever's bite marks. Yeah.
See, that'd be a story that's like, wow.
See, that's a
story. We had one guy come on that was like, I witnessed a murder.
Yeah.
And then he tells the story, and
Ben
it's like,
Smith.
A murder happened in the neighborhood.
Nearby.
Did not witness
He's
it.
like, I saw 6 dead bodies. Like, did you? I saw 1. Oh, it was a funeral. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's just like, I heard the sirens.
Yeah.
And we're just like,
we assumed something
we're like,
happened nearby.
gosh darn it, Ben.
Yeah.
You really oversold that story.
Yeah.
And and then sure, like you can bring in a lineup of returned missionaries to tell their stories. Like, are they going to be as funny and charming as us?
Oftentimes, no.
No. Are they going to be like 60% as charming? 80%?
I'm going to say
It's a bit of a stretch.
sometimes I think we've gone as low as 50%.
Has anyone ever out-charmed us?
No one's out charmed. Actually, maybe Mercedes Fright. She was people seem to like that episode. I think it's because she talks about mental health, and people are just like all about mental health these days.
Yeah, they're always like, oh, we got to take care of our mental health.
Mental health.
And we're like,
It's
really?
so important.
I was like, I don't know. You can kind of just let that slide, and it'll
Yeah.
mostly take care of
And
itself.
we're over here like, you know what? Just grit your teeth, clench a fist,
We're from a different era of missions.
keep walking. Yeah, we really
It was a
are.
don't ask, don't tell.
time. It was a
Don't ask about anyone's anything, and don't tell about anything or anything.
If someone breaks down crying in your office, the mission president has to he can't pat him on the back. We're past that time.
Yeah.
And he just has to say, hey, buck up.
Read your scriptures. That'll make you feel better.
He has to do
And
it.
if it doesn't, it's because you're a sinner.
And a pansy. He has to try everything in his power not to call us pansies. He wants to so bad. Yeah, the mission stories, man, they just
I know. I just have to explain. I was like, it's a brand. Mission stories are a cultural icon. It's just a brand name.
it's not a description like it used to be.
It's changed. It's evolved.
How dare you expect to get that from this podcast? How
It's
dare
like-
you?
They see the title and they're like, oh, I guess I could listen to some stories from a mission. No,
No, you're not going to get that.
because life's a mission.
And then we end the episode, and that's it.
And that's the end of this episode. And then we start a Star Wars episode.
Hey, welcome to the Star Wars episode. No, we have lots to talk about that's not Star Wars related.
All right. I was in the middle of outing you.
Yeah, so,
We haven't been able to do. We tried to do an episode several weeks ago,
yeah.
but someone was like, "Oh, I can't."
I
because
have
I'm
COVID-19.
I have the itty bitty bitty. I'm in isolation, so I don't spread it.
So I don't spread a deadly global disease any further.
And I was like,
Oh.
fine. I was like, if you don't want to record the podcast, Troy, just say it.
Just say you hate me.
Don't use the global pandemic as an excuse.
Don't use the thing the world has crumbled, has buckled at the knee under as an excuse for not recording our monthly podcast.
I mean, like, gosh, can you imagine, like, the wife comes home and she's like, why didn't she do the dishes while I was at work? And I'm like, COVID-19.
And then she smacks you around. Yeah, and you gotta apply some makeup when you go into the lab the next day.
And I'm like, sorry, I tested positive. It's like, excuses.
Yeah, so I got COVID-19. December 9th, I was feeling a little sick, a little icky. It was a cold. To me, it was a cold. It was like a cold, a light flu. Had some muscle aches. I had a fever for an evening.
Right, because you've got the old temperature thermometer. Checking for that.
I got a thermometer from earlier in the pandemic.
Don't you like check your body temperature like every other day?
Yeah,
Aren't you like pretty diligent?
I tend to. If I'm feeling a little warm, I'll check it. And I also have one of those.
Don't you have like a log book?
I have a Yes, I do keep a log.
You're like December 19th.
Captain's log. My temperature normal.
Body temperature within normal range.
That is all. Yeah, I have a blood oxygen measurer thing too. I got an Apple Watch for Christmas, and so that has brought the power of blood oxygen measurement to my wrist.
Nice.
And also an ECG, and also a heartbeat monitor, and also it's like a hypochondriac's dream come true.
How is your old blood oxygen saturation?
Good, I think. You know, it's funny though. I think from the Apple Watch, I don't know how good of a job. I'm worried because it either does a really good job of measuring, or it's, well, in my experience, it's a little unreliable. It's the tightness is, a factor. The positioning of the watch on your wrist. These all lead to different numbers within a very short time
'Cause
period.
now I'm just like, I wonder what it would have said when you had COVID.
Yeah.
But you didn't have it then.
Well, no, but I did have my finger one. I have a little cheapo finger one.
You do have one.
Yeah.
You're something else.
I got two of them. So I don't know if that one just wants to make me happy though, because it's usually pretty close to like 95% every time I look at it. So, but sometimes, yeah, with the Apple Watch, it would be like, oh, now you're 93, now you're 88.
Well, that's not good.
Yeah. But also those two numbers would be in very like close proximity. Like I would do it would see like 88 and then I like do it again and then it was like 93 or whatever. It seems to trend lower than what that one does, but yeah, I don't know if I trust it necessarily.
It's a watch. It's not a medical device.
Yeah, it also sends me messages from my phone. The thing I've learned about the watch is like it's probably helpful if you can't, like you said, in a lab situation where you can't access your phone. But I have my phone like literally all day, every day. It's like no more than, it's within arm's reach all day long. So it's like if you want to receive a message, there's a nice little haptic little feeling you get when you get a message.
I know you love haptic controls.
I love haptics. Haptic Troy, they call me.
That's true.
Yeah, so I got COVID-19.
Yeah, I was going to say back to that. So your full symptom range. Take us through the whole narrative.
Okay, so I got...
You got a cold.
Yeah.
Mild flu-like symptoms.
And I have the urge to cough right now. I've been fighting the urge to cough. Actually, that's not true. Just sometimes I do. I find the more I talk, the more the slight urge to cough comes to me. But so this is what happened. December 9th, and I'll admit, I was a little reckless. I was a little reckless leading up to December 9th, which is when
you were trying to find like the most crowded place in the city.
Yeah.
You like saw like the anti-mask rallies and you're like, I'm going to run naked through that.
And I'm going to eat all the snow that people step on from there. And no, but I would go out. I was going out. I was going to restaurants. I'll go on a date, sort of a thing. And so, I wasn't that careful because, I'd gotten sick earlier in the pandemic and I was like, I survived. I probably had it. I don't think I had it back then, I will say. I think this is actually it. And I'll tell you the one reason as we move along the narrative. But, so I was a little reckless. I get sick. I'm like, and it was annoying because I had to tell work, like, it was crazy because, like, I work from home, but really, truly, I was like, I can't work. Like, I just can't work. I gotta, like, lay down for 3 days. So I laid down.
Yeah, it's like a man cold.
Yeah. I had to lay down for about 3 days. And one of those days I had a fever. First day I had like muscle aches in my shoulders. That's when I really knew it was like something. The last time I had that, I don't know if you remember the sickness of 2015 or whenever I was like 25 years old. Do you remember when I was very sick?
I thought you got mono.
Yeah. They thought I don't know what. Who knows? Who knows if. I sometimes wonder if they like just forget to call you or something. Do you know what I mean? It's like you had. Because like what did I have? Did you get tests done? Yeah. I went to the hospital, not the hospital, urgent care, because my temperature, I'd had a fever for like 4 days in a row or something.
That's not good.
Yeah. And I was by myself and I didn't know any better, but so that's not good.
Yeah, I'm over here. I'm like, what color of tubes did they draw? Can you go back 5 years and remember if they drew a blue top tube on you? Because I'm pretty sure they do mono tests off the citrate tubes.
I don't remember that. Yeah. No, they did a nose test. They put a big thing up my nose.
Oh, the nasal swab.
And that was unpleasant.
The brain tickler.
The brain tickler. And that I thought that was unpleasant until like years later this year when the throat swab is a nightmare. Do not like the throat swab.
I gave myself a brain tickler in the lab the other day, but that come ask me about that later.
Okay.
We can get back to that later. But,
to just blow through all of this, I got muscle aches. I got what else did I get? I had a runny nose. Not immediately though. Honestly, there was never a time when like there was a ton of mucus in my nose or whatever, right? Like it was stuffed up, but it wasn't like really drippy.
Well, it's supposed to be more of a lower respiratory infection. I don't think you're supposed to have too much upper respiratory. Did you lose your sense of taste or smell?
I think we're there now. That's the thing where I think pretty sure this is the COVID because of that. I'll tell you this. The thing that I experienced more than that was I smelled like this. I smelled one smell. Yeah, it's still there. I smell one smell, and everything I smell has this one smell.
What is it?
It's a cheap, perfumey sort of a smell.
Oh.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what that means, or if it's just like, you know, it's like how like if the body loses a sense, it makes up in another. Maybe it's like an illusion of my mind or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Whenever I get like a throat,
Yeah.
not necessarily strep throat, but some sort of like throat infection,
Yeah.
I always taste buckwheat pancakes whenever I swallow.
Yeah. It's like that. I've had this before where like when I was younger, I remember we went on a trip to Seattle. I had a similar phenomena where like as I was getting over the cold, I had like this one, and I'll say that it's not an unpleasant smell. If you had to smell something all the time, all day, every day, obviously you're going to get sick of it and you want to smell other things. But yeah, it's not entirely unpleasant. But I will say I got some deodorant for Christmas, and I was like smelling it, and I was really like, I really had to
giving it a real huff.
Yeah, I really had to get it in there before I could like register. I can smell a little bit and taste a little bit, but it is more dull. I will say that.
Yeah, I know my neighbors got the itty bitty vitty, and they said that was their thing, is like they couldn't taste anything.
Yeah.
And I think their story was they were like doing just like shots of whiskey.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my gosh, I can't even taste it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's
like, I can get so drunk
so quickly.
But yeah.
It's
so you were tuckered out.
I was tuckered out. What else? I developed like a little, so like as I got over the like tired, headache, you know, sort of the stuff that sort of incapacitates you on the couch, as those symptoms went away, I noticed like a bit of I noticed the urge to cough come up sort of at the tail end. And I was just like, huh. And if, you know, a dry cough, as they say, right?
Yep.
I got that. And then I was feeling good. I was feeling better. I think like 10 days had passed. I had done the self-isolation from the beginning of when I had gotten sick. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm like good to go. Christmas was rapidly approaching. Had to cancel, you know, the podcast, all sorts of, you know, I just complete shutdown of social life. And then I figured I should get a test if I'm going to go see my parents and family over Christmas, which was the plan. And so I get the test. I'm wondering if I should even say this on this podcast, but I will, because
the bylaw officers are coming to get us.
They're
cracking down in this city.
Having the popularity and the reach to have them listen to the podcast, that would be a dream, and that is just not the case. But yeah, so I get the test. Just as like, I'm so sure I don't have it.
This is December 19th, 20th?
19th, yes. I was so sure that I did not have it. Because I had been sick earlier and a lot of the same symptoms. And I did not have it back then. So I get
You didn't get tested back then.
I did.
Oh, you did?
I did. I got the throat swab.
That's right. I keep forgetting. I thought they said just isolate. It was back when they're like, we can't test everyone.
Yeah, this was...
Stay home,
Well,
Troy.
you know what? Maybe this wasn't in... but if what they've told me now is true, then I would have tested positive. They've said I'll get to it. I get the test, throat swab, horrible, awful. They're just like, we got to keep doing it. I'm like, and it's a horrible experience. And then,
just like the sketch video.
Just like the sketch. It's so much like that, actually. So, and then I get the test, and I can't be around anyone because I just got the test. I have to wait until I've, got the results back. And so what do? The first thing I do, I drive to Banff because
why not?
I'll be alone. I didn't really, in hindsight, I do feel kind of bad. I did get out and walk around a little bit. I did wear a mask. And my symptoms were mostly gone at that point. Mm-hmm. So I don't feel too bad, but also I feel a little bad.
You're like, I did go into restaurants and breathe heavily.
Yeah.
And you're like, sir, please put your mask on. You're like, I can't breathe.
I can't breathe.
I have an exception. I have a medical exception.
Yeah, this is my service dog. He let me anyway.
This is my service, Baby Yoda.
Yeah, I got a Baby Yoda for Christmas. Anyway, so I come home, and around 2 a.m. that eve, 12 hours later, I get this text message from AHS saying, urgent. Troy has tested positive for COVID-19. And let me tell you, Lyndon, that was an upsetting text message to get.
I would think so.
It was like, oh boy. Because immediately, my hypochondria set in. I'm like, maybe I feel sicker. Because, I was on the mend, right? I was like, I'm feeling good. And then I get that text message. I'm like, maybe I don't feel so good. And I start am I more sick? No, I don't know.
Was COVID affecting your mental health?
Yeah, in that moment, it definitely was. And then it was like, well, I guess I'm screwed. Because they're like, you got to isolate from now until, 10 days, which was the 29th was going to be 10 days after that. So I was not happy about that. And then the next day, and then you get it at 2 a.m. What am I supposed to do? Go to sleep now? Now I got to go to sleep? And I'm just thinking about oh, I got to tell
knowing
my
that you have a
parents.
death sentence?
A death sentence, yeah. So the next morning I tell my folks and my sister and everything. And I tell everyone. I tell you and all my friends. And yeah, what happened then? And then my parents, they brought all my Christmas gifts that they were going to give me over to my place under the presumption that I'm just going to have Christmas alone. And, which was nice of them. But anyway, so then a doctor called me and they were or the nurse or whatever. And they're like, hey, so we're just here to check up on you. How you feeling? I told them how I felt and all the symptoms and everything. And the whole story, and they're like, oh, okay. And I was like, so how long do I need to isolate for 10 days? Nah, you guys, I don't know. It's just hold on. And then they put me on hold. They're like, yeah, I just talked to a doctor. They're like, I don't know, just a few more days. Just till you're feeling good. If you're feeling good, they're like, do you have a fever? No. Do you have a runny nose? No. Do you have a cough? And I'm like, I just have the urge to cough. And I feel like if I made the decision to not cough, I would not cough. And they're like, yeah, you're fine. You could be around people in a few days. Just take a few days out,
They're like, hold on, what's the rules here?
Yeah. And I was like, do I need to get tested? Is it a negative test that I need to take? They're like, nah. Nah, it's fine.
They're like, that's for professional athletes.
Yeah. Well, they're like, you're going to test positive for the next 90 days. That's what they told me.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm like, okay. Because so many I see these people on famous people Jamie Vernon of the Joe Rogan podcast got COVID-19, and they're like, and all these comedians, and they're like, yeah, I've got 2 negative tests in a row.
That is confusing because that's in the NBA and NHL. It's if they wanted to get into the bubble, to like,
Yeah.
play their professional sports, they had to produce negative test results.
Yeah. And then Elon Musk had he took 4 tests in one day. 2 of them were positive, 2 of them were negative. So it's I don't know. I don't know what to make of this information that they're like, you're going to be tested positive for the next 90 days.
Well, I know
3 months.
I know there was some controversy because it's PCR testing, real-time PCR testing, and there's a what do they call it? CT value. So the something threshold, because PCR is like cycles, and there's like a cycles of replication with fluorescence, and each cycle they measure fluorescence.
Oh yes, I've heard something. Yeah.
Yeah, and once it gets past the background level of fluorescence, that's when it flags as positive. For some people, it takes like 64 cycles. For some people, like 128 cycles, 30.
Now,
and so like the number of cycles it takes to get to that positive point is like the threshold. So if you have a higher viral count, it'll get to that level sooner. But they like don't report that.
Yeah.
And so then I think it's like an important thing for doctors if they could be like, oh yeah, like you tested positive, but it took like so many cycles.
Yeah.
It took like to the very last cycle, so your viral count is like super low, or it's just like you don't have the virus anymore. You just have like viral fragments.
Yeah. And what they're doing, correct me if I'm wrong, but like what they're doing is they're taking whatever little inkling, tiny little bit of the virus, and they're like reproducing it. They're multiplying it and so by the time, and isn't like each cycle, it's like there's a million times more.
Well, it's exponential growth, so it's doubling every cycle.
Yeah. So you have, by the time you get to like 64 cycles, I think it was Brett Weinstein. He's like, you have like trillions more of the virus that like they've amplified this little tiny thing. So it's like, of course you're going to test positive if you do that. Like just the manner of the testing is such that like you can sort of manipulate it a bit to be like, Well,
if you have 0 COVID viral RNA fragments in your throat, then it would never test positive.
Right.
And actually what they do is they batch it. So I don't know if it's like they'll put like 5 or 10 patients together and run it. And then if it goes positive, then they have to test that whole batch individually.
Oh, I see. That's
but if it goes negative, they can just like tell all 10 people that they're negative.
That's good.
So that way they can like get through more tests fast. So they do batching.
That's not a bad idea. So, yeah. So I had to. I told So I get the call as like you can be around people, and then I told, my parents and sister that, and they're like, "Is that true, or are you just want to be at home for Christmas?
Do you just miss us, Troy?
Do you just love us and you want to be around us?" And I'm like, "Yes, please believe me."
They're like, "Or are you trying to kill us?"
Anyway, I played the martyr a little bit. I was like, "No, I'll just be at home by myself," and I legitimately would have done that, but my mom was like, "No, you're coming over for Christmas. We believe you." So I spent Christmas with my family, which was very nice. But
also against the law?
No, they give a little pass for it.
Right. Don't you get like 2 people?
Yeah, I can have 2 close associates who I whatever.
I guess I'm one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all just breaking the law.
Grudge
I don't know.
Is the other one.
I don't know. Then the government officials, everyone's going on Hawaii and Mexico for Christmas.
Yeah, they're all.
That's a controversy.
It's a controversy.
Yes, I did not see my family.
That sucks, dude.
Well, I did. I visited some of them outside because you can have the outdoor.
You guys all live in one
Well, actually, Well, for as far as
building,
the Nagplex goes, yeah, I did see my brother. He's technically my roommate, so
yeah,
he is my household. My parents are sort of my household because they live next door in the same building, but they skedaddled off to the cabin for Christmas.
Okay.
And they said if anyone wants to join us, we won't say nothing.
They're not gonna rat.
They're like, hey, up at Gull Lake, there's no snitches.
You drive up. There's a bunch of like cop cars waiting for you.
So they were there. And then, so then my sister that lives in southern Calgary, we had a little outdoor gathering. Oh, the best thing, we met in an empty field in Claire's home with Jasmine's parents to exchange gifts.
Fun, an empty field.
There's just like 2 cars parked in this field in Claire's home to exchange Christmas gifts. This is what the pandemic's done to us.
Did you like walk to the center, put the gift down, walk
We like
back?
flashed our
Your
headlights
car
at
lights,
them.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, it's cool.
Where's the stuff? Where's
got
this? Where's your gifts? Like they're in a safe space. Don't worry about
They're
it.
at the dead drop.
They're at the dead drop. Yeah,
You'll know where to find them.
They're just in a field. They're like, where are they? You're like a mile away with a high-powered rifle. Just got him in the scope, just in case. Overwatch, okay?
Yeah. Tactical security.
Oh, what are their names again? Paula. Oh, wait.
Jeff.
And Jeff. Paula and Jeff are like, where are they? Behind you.
And we're like on the phone, my little Bluetooth headset. Show me your hands.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I just watched. The Bourne Supremacy recently, and I watched The Bourne Identity and The Bourne Supremacy. You know what I love about those movies? I love how I love how they always, and they do this like at least 3 times throughout the movie, where Jason Bourne sees the like CIA people, and he'll be like, there was a woman I used to talk to back in in the program. I want to talk to her, and she'll be she's the girl's in the room with them.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know if that's gonna be. I don't know if I can find her. We'll try our best. And Jason Bourne's like, oh, it's easy. She's to your left. And then it's like, and they're like, oh, they look around. They're all like freaking out and stuff. You could do that to them. But I love how they use that. And then at the end of the movie, he's like, hey, Catherine Landy, or what is her name? Landy? Pamela Landy. Hey, Pamela Landy, you're looking tired. She's like, what? He can see me from
He's been
where?
looking at me this whole time.
Where can he see me from?
Jason Bourne.
Jason. Yeah. So David Webb. So I just love how they use that as like it's like a magic trick,
Yeah. Here's something for you. Jasmine.
Give me something.
Jasmine was like, we have to put together a little Christmas package full of treats to give to Troy.
Aww.
And I was like, hell no.
Oh, what?
She's like, we'll just drop it off at his door. I
Yeah.
was like, he'd have to open the door to let us into his apartment building.
The
and
COVID
then-
would escape.
And then give him, I was like, what do you want? COVID so bad that you'd risk seeing Troy? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, no.
Damn you, Lyndon. How dare you stop? That would have been such a nice, a bright spirit bringing thing. What am I trying to say? COVID has fried my brain. A bright, shining moment in a time of darkness for me.
Well, that's Jasmine for you.
And you're just like...
Sometimes I have to temper her niceness.
You have to keep her from killing the family.
She's like, I want to spread goodwill to Troy Remington Cooper. I was like, Troy Covington Cooper?
Troy Covington Cooper, and he will spread something back to you, so don't get too close. But no, my spreading days were over so long ago. My spreading days were probably like when I was really sick, on that couch.
This very couch I'm sitting
Which
on.
is the couch you're on.
Just impregnated with virus.
Just soaked with COVID-19. Completely soaked with viral
I
loads.
really wish I didn't jump face first into this couch when I got here.
Yeah. It was a little out of character. I was a little...
Normally I
what
just
is he
come and
doing?
sit on, but I just dolphin dove face
Yeah.
first and just
And
took a big huff of the couch.
You've like used it as like a filter almost, like for your breathing. You like put the
I was
your
like,
face
this
right up to the
couch
pillow.
cushion will make a good mask.
I was like, dude, I sit on that. Like, don't do that. You're like, no. There's something about it.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that. If I could take it back, I would, but it's too late.
And you will have heard I just did a little cough and
He covered it with his medical sweater.
My medical sweater.
Medical grade sweater.
I will say this though. Yesterday I'm trying to get back on the sketch wagon, so I'm gonna do a little animated sketch. It's about Batman and Alfred, and so I did a little Batman voice, a little Grogu saying hi to me. He's on your knee.
Yeah.
So, I had to strain the voice a little bit. I'm wondering if that's sort of the reason I'm a little hoarse today.
Doing your Batman voice.
Oh, Alfred. Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it.
That's it.
So, anyway, that's COVID.
COVID.
Yeah.
You're cured.
I'm feeling good. I feel fine.
You didn't get arrested.
Didn't get arrested.
Not like that poor hockey player.
A hockey player was arrested?
Did you not see that?
No.
It was a big deal. And then, these two lady cops were trying to arrest him on the ice, but he's on skates, and he's a junior.
He's a hockey player.
Yeah, it's his brothers got drafted in the NHL, and he's not making it in the NHL, but he's a competent hockey player.
Right.
Big dude.
Skating around.
Yeah, skating around, refusing to get off the ice.
Wait. Cops went on the ice?
Yes.
To try to wait until after the game.
So I thought it's the bylaw officer comes and is all right, guys, break it up. No playing hockey on this outdoor rink because of the COVID. So everyone's okay. But one guy is no, because I got freedoms. I will not accept this COVID communism.
Yeah.
So he does not get off the ice. So the bylaw officer is well, now I got to call the cops. So these
chasing him around on the ice.
These two lady cops show up. And they're
nice.
Get off the ice.
Yeah.
And he's just no. And then his friends are just Steve, get off the ice. Actually, I think his name's Ocean.
Ocean?
His first name is Ocean or something.
Ocean Breeze?
Yeah. They're dude, get off the ice. But at this point, he's under arrest.
Yeah.
The police are just you're now under arrest.
Yeah.
So they're get off the ice. He's I'm not getting off the ice. They're gonna arrest me. But it's too late for that.
You're gonna get arrested. It's not.
So and it's and they come on, they step onto the ice and they grab him and they're kneeing him in the thigh as hard as they can. But it's they're slipping everywhere and he's on skates. And
he's got pads, doesn't he, or no?
I don't know what they're wearing when they play their little pond hockey, but so it's they can't take him down. He's on skates on ice, so he's got the advantage and he's stronger than him.
Yeah.
But eventually, once he finally walks off the little pond, they take him down and he gets arrested. Blah blah blah. But everyone's our freedom.
So there's footage of this.
Oh yeah,
I gotta see this.
it was all over the fate. You were probably sitting on the couch suffering from COVID while this was happening. This was early December.
Oh yeah, that would be December 9th. That's when I was the throes of it.
Yeah, so he got arrested for disobeying public health orders.
What's going on with you, Lyndon? What's going on in your life? Is there anything new happening? Did you
still on practicum for the old lab business.
Yeah.
Some exciting developments. I'm doing hematology.
Cool.
And for the first time, I was doing non-simulated lab work.
Real lab work.
Real lab work. So I was over at Rocky View, actually doing hematology.
Cool.
I was I would drive back from home from work.
Why are you calling it work with air quotes?
They don't pay me.
Okay.
I pay them to be there.
Cool.
Actually, that's another controversy. Is I pay SATE to work for Alberta Precision Labs, which Alberta Precision Labs doesn't care too much for that.
Why?
They're why do you pay tuition to SATE while you're here on practicum?
Yeah.
I was it costs us money to have you here, but you pay SATE.
Yeah.
And so they're not too happy about that. But no, it was nice. It was finally working real lab stuff. It's sometimes I'm am I cut out for this? Because there was this one patient that we would get their samples every day and do tests on it and blah, blah, blah. And then one day they're did that slide ever come back in for blah, blah, blah? And they're oh yeah, what happened with that? And then we go in and it's they died yesterday. And I'm oh, I was Robert.
Oh.
Or it's I was you can't get attached to these patients.
I can't get attached to these tubes.
Where it's
Wait, so
like,
you took the blood from this guy,
no, I'm not doing that. Like
or the what? So so these are just names on a sheet.
yeah, these are names on a tube. I've never actually met these people.
These are names on a tube, and they're just sort of abstract ideas almost. It's like if I told you that like this is Kevin's lens cap. Kevin's dead now.
I'd be like,
Oh, the lens cap.
ugh.
Maybe you're not good up for this.
Oh yeah, no. And there's like this one patient, and it's when I first realized it's like some like 99-year-old lady,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, oh, her hemoglobin is so low. And I was like, and we get her sample in every morning and run a test on it. And I was like, one day, her samples aren't going to come in the morning because she's dead. And like one day they just stopped coming in, and I didn't look it up. But for the one guy, it was because like we were in the middle of doing like a manual differential on like his blood smear, and we're like, oh, we never like finished that. Did it get canceled? And so like they actually went back to look to see why we only got like halfway done, and it's like, oh, it got canceled because he's dead.
That's such a bummer. Is that, yeah, how do you feel about that? Just like, I guess being in the medical field at all, you're going to deal with like just people on their way out, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, and it's funny because I'm like, oh, I feel for them.
Yeah.
But it's like, I've never met them. I just like
Look at you.
interpret their test results.
Look at you, not a psychopath. I love it.
Yeah.
You got some real empathy.
Yeah. It's like, even when I was in microbiology, I was looking at like blood smears, and these are from like a month ago. It was like in September, and it was like some like 70-something-year-old lady with like a strep pneumo in her blood, and I was like, oh, I was like, Margaret. I was like, Margaret's probably dead now. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm like,
they're all dying under my watch.
so it's like they like save this slide for students to look at. I was looking at it in like October, but the slide's from September because microbiology is a simulated lab. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. I was like, this lady's probably dead.
Yeah.
I was just like,
It's like a dead star. It's like the light from the sun, or, you know, the stars are light from dead stars.
but I was like, no, not really. I was just like, you know, she had sepsis, and strep pneumo is very
It's very easy.
very susceptible to antibiotics. So I'm like, I'm sure she got treated and made a full recovery.
She's fine.
And I was like, oh, Margaret's probably dead.
Oh, what a start to the new year.
But yeah, so in microbiology, that's where I did my my brain tickler. Is
On yourself.
on myself. Is
what was that like?
well, I had this suspicion that I am a carrier for Staph aureus in my nose.
What's that? Sounds bad.
It is bad. Staph
It's very bad.
Staph aureus is a pathogen. It is never normal flora. It's always a pathogen, no matter where it is.
What is it?
So I don't have what is what?
What does it do?
Well, it's mostly like a pathogen for wounds, like when
Okay.
people get staph infections,
Yes.
like, and, you know, a cut gets infected.
Mm-hmm.
It's often like Staph aureus. But if Staph aureus gets anywhere, it's in your blood, in your lungs, you know,
Bad.
it's bad.
And you have it?
Yeah, it lives in my nose.
Why?
I don't know. Apparently it happens.
In your nose.
And like they screen like nurses and like frontline healthcare workers all the time, because then, you know, they might sneeze on someone and give them like a staph. So yeah, apparently, yeah, I like grabbed a swab and like jammed it up in my nose, gave it the old brain tickler, and then I swabbed it out on a plate,
Sure enough.
cultured the plate, ran some tests on it, and I was like, this is Staphylococcus aureus. And it grows in my nose.
Why did you think
It doesn't
you
grow
had
in my
that?
nose. It just lives in there.
Why did you have that? Why did you think you had that?
I think in SATE, we did like mouth swabs and nose swabs in like our first week of micro as like hey guys, this is fun. You're going to learn. And
They're like, you have staphylococcus
but I mean,
meningitis in your face. Sorry. Here's a fun little game.
no. Well, the problem was because one of the tests for it is you do it on what's called an MSA plate. It's just like a a plate that has like this pink growth media, and Staph aureus will turn it yellow.
Okay.
But the problem is our micro labs were like once a week. And so like if you don't look at it right away, it'll like go back to the pink. It'll revert back. So basically from SATE, I was like, I think we might have staph. And like my instructor was like, if you're worried about it, go tell your family doctor. Maybe they treat it. Maybe they make a note. I don't know.
Maybe they don't.
You know,
who gives a crap?
Yeah, they're like, well, you're not a nurse, you're not a doctor, you're not a frontline health. They care if you're a frontline healthcare worker. So basically, I told like my preceptor that I was like, I want to run these tests on myself because I'm not sure, and they have more equipment in like the actual lab. Because I also tested to see if it was MRSA. So I was like, I'm pretty sure it's staph.
MERS?
MRSA.
Okay, not MERS, though.
Methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus.
Not the Middle Eastern respiratory syndrome.
No.
Okay.
So I was able to confirm I am a carrier for staph in my nose.
What?
But it's not MRSA. So
it's not that bad.
So, I mean, and also, like, you know, you measure the growth of it. It was very scant growth.
Okay.
I literally, like, you know, jammed a swab up my nose, and I think I got, like, 4 colonies.
You know,
so I mean, I had to sub that out,
Lyndon,
to a plate to get full growth to test it.
I might have to put the brakes on you here. You're talking in a very esoteric way. I barely understand. Like, you're like, get this, it only got 4 colonies, and I'm like, oh, cool. Like, I don't know what you're saying.
A colony.
What are you saying?
Like, you know, like
is that good?
A plate, a petri dish.
Is it bad?
Imagine a petri dish.
Okay.
We call them plates.
A plate.
And have you seen like the little pictures of like the little dots growing on them for microbiology? Are you familiar with that at all?
I can imagine it.
Yeah, little dots. That's like a little colony. A colony represents like 1 bacteria.
So the more colonies, the worse it is.
Yeah.
And the fewer. So 4 what's a bad case? How many colonies is a bad case of staph?
Well, let's see. You streak out a plate, and so you'll do like streak.
Of just
rotate
the stuff on your nose.
Yeah. And then you'll do streak. So you have 4 quadrants of streaks.
Okay.
Because you'll streak it out, and then you'll rotate the plate, and then you'll take your stick and go 1 line through it. So each quadrant gets less concentrated with bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
And so you measure it, and this is different for whatever site you're working on, like respiratory or blood. You don't quantify growth on a blood culture. Now I have to explain why. Okay.
Nah.
So you don't quantify growth on a blood culture, but you would quantify for like a wound or a respiratory culture.
Okay.
And so what it is, it's like if there's growth in the first quadrant, you call it scant. Growth in the second quadrant, you call it few. Growth in the third, moderate. And if it's growth all the way out to the 4th quadrant, then you call it heavy. Usually things are only clinically significant with moderate to heavy growth. So the fact that I had scant growth, basically it means like I don't have an infection in my nose.
Yeah.
But there is Staph aureus living there. They're in there.
So you just got to be careful.
Yeah.
Or not.
Like, I should not be sneezing on anyone's open wounds. That's good practice anyway. You should never sneeze in people's open wounds. But myself specifically, I would risk giving giving someone a staph infection if I were to just like, you know, snot rocket into someone's open wound.
That's so crazy. I wonder what I got in me.
I could give you a little testy test.
Like, you got any toothpicks around here?
You got some
swabs?
But yeah, I'm not in the micro lab anymore, so.
Okay.
I know someone had like mold growing on their Nutella, and they're like, "Can I bring that into the lab? Can we test it to see?"
What is it?
Well, they're like, "It's mold."
Like, it's Nutella. It's delicious.
They're like, "What kind of is it? What kind of? Maybe it's yeast. Could we test it? Can I do
a yeasty Nutella mold?"
And so my request got granted. I think I think they were like, if you bring a sterile container and collect it at home and bring it into the lab, we'll test it. But she's like, I got the Nutella in my locker. He's like, no, you can't bring a jar of moldy Nutella into the lab. We don't know what's in there.
Why?
He's like, stop. So that's, those are my days.
That's your day. That's your life, buddy. That's for the next 30 years.
Running tests on myself, doing blood tests for people in the Rocky View Hospital.
So when are you finished schooling? When do you start to, when are you free to work?
Let me give you the whole schedule.
Give me the timeline.
So for the rest of the month of January, I'm finishing off hematology.
Yes.
And then I have the entire month of February off.
That's pretty nice.
And then I do specimen collection. So for 1 week, I will actually draw blood from people, which is like, this probably will be the only time I ever draw blood from people ever again, most likely. And then I have my chemistry rotation. That should wrap up at the beginning of May, and then I should write the exam in June. And hopefully I can be working in July. Some people get their results back much faster. Okay, we just had a chair swap.
Switched my chair.
Is that more comfortable?
Papa's more comfy.
It is kind of nicer. You're at my level now.
I'm like a little below you, it seems, almost.
In your other chair, you tower over me.
I was better than you in that chair. Now I'm
always showing who's in charge of this podcast.
Now I'm the same or worse than you. I would have put these headphones back on.
But yeah, it would be nice if I could, be ready to rock and roll and be working in July.
And are there lots of... Now, here's my question. Here's the salient question out of all of this. Are you still going to be here then in July? Or do you have to move to Carstairs or what the heck?
It's hard to say. Some people, very few people will get jobs in Calgary. I could. Oh. A little adjustment.
See your face. Yeah, I can't.
Oh, it's covered up by the mic.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot of jobs in positions. Because a lot of there'll be lots of COVID, 1 year COVID contracts to go work at the COVID lab.
Yeah.
But we've already been told that people are working in the COVID lab is hell. It's the worst.
Ooh.
And it's just I don't know if that's where I want to start.
Why not? Start out in the trenches.
Yeah, it sounds pretty terrible. And then you work there for a year, and I guess if they like you, then you're more likely to get a position.
Yeah.
Then there's also I feel like they'll throw anyone in the casual pool where it's you just pick up shifts wherever you can. Mm. But that's no way to make money.
Sounds like fun though. Casual.
This is the one guy. I tell everyone who will listen. So my wife, because the only person I see is her. But it's there's this guy at the lab. So I see him because when you're a student, you just show up for the day shift. Mm-hmm. And everyone on the day shift are senior techs because they get priority. And it's the people leaving at 7 a.m. that did the night shift are all these young fellas. But then this one guy, he told me this is what his shift was. 7 days straight of night shifts. And then 7 days off. So that's only part-time. That's only 70%. Mm-hmm. That's not a full-time job. But it's basically, if you work 7 days straight of nights, that entire week is a write-off.
Yeah.
And then you have a week of doing whatever you want. But now, he's getting full-time hours. Excuse me. I usually don't talk this long on the podcast. He works 7 days of nights in a row.
Cheryl is just so happy right now.
Not that you just interrupted. 7 days in a row of nights, gets a day off to readjust, then works 3 day shifts, and then gets another 3 days off before he goes back to the 7 nights in a row. So he's now getting full-time hours, but I'm that's no way to live.
It is no way to live.
And I assume he's a single guy. I don't really ask. But I'm I have to be I'm a married man.
Yeah.
I have to work the day shift. I have to see my wife.
I have to get what I want.
But
I'm a
it's like,
millennial.
exactly. But like all the people working the night shift are like new techs. And it's like this guy didn't even get a full-time job until he'd been working for 3 years. And his full-time hours are the worst schedule I've ever heard. Yeah. I'm freaking out.
That's your life, baby. Unless you go to like
if I go to Chase, BC, then I can get some nice day shifts.
Is that true, or is that just like your opinion? Is that just like your presumption?
What
like,
it is?
who's not to say that the exact same thing won't be true in Chase, BC? Like, sounds
I
like
know.
a nice.
I looked up like some job positions, and I saw there was like a position in Chase, BC, and a position in Salmon Arm, and those are like 10, 15 minutes apart. And one of them was like part-time on this shift. Another one was basically, if you took both positions, you'd be full-time.
Mm.
And they were like day shifts or something.
That's nice. Well,
but yeah, so I don't know. So yeah, everyone's like, what's going to happen when you graduate? I'm like, I don't know.
And you're not thinking about it. You're not like concerned about it.
Well, what am I going to do about it now?
Worry.
You
could worry about it. Let it affect you. Let it affect
your
sleep.
The trend has been that like 4 or 5 people will get hired in Calgary. A whole schwack will get hired in BC.
Mm-hmm.
BC is really hurting for lab techs because I think they underpay their lab techs.
Oh.
They underpay and overwork them in BC. It's kind of their thing. So they have a hard time recruiting. So they hire SAIT students to go work in BC. And then, then lots of people will get jobs in all over the province in like rural spots.
Mm.
But it seems like it could be it's unlikely. 10% of my graduating class will probably get a position in Calgary.
You strike me as more of a rural Alberta person than a Chase, BC person. Am I wrong?
Historically, I have lived in rural Alberta. So I used to be a country bumpkin. You might not notice this from my really like refined, civilized, metropolitan way of being.
Yes.
But I'm actually a bit of a country bumpkin at heart.
Yeah, you're quite a metropolitan. You're quite a city playboy, if you will, but without the playboy.
Just the city part, because you live in the city.
Just the city.
I used to say I'm a city-fied country bumpkin.
City-fied? That's the most bumpkin way of saying that, by the way. City-fied country bumpkin. Also, like southern United States, sort of a.
But I think now I'm no longer a country bumpkin.
Yeah, you're a reformed bumpkin.
I did help a guy move his electric fence for his cattle this year. It was a nice reminder of my roots.
It's pretty bumpkin.
I did almost kill his dog.
Why?
Well,
it looked at you sideways.
We were. He needed help moving. This is a guy I was hunting with.
You better get your dog right. He's looking at me funny. He's just like looking at you.
We were out hunting back in Olds with my dad's old friend Bruce. I feel like I can call Bruce my friend. I'm an adult now. I've known him my whole life.
He's your dad's friend. Never get it twisted.
I've got his number in my phone. I could text him right now.
He's like, what?
But yeah, he was moving an electric fence so that his cattle could feed on some stuff that he was saving.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted them to graze in this part of the field, and he like saves it by limiting their access to it. I don't know. I'm not a rancher. So he needed help moving his electric fence, so we helped him do that. And I almost killed his dog because you like pull up the stakes and then like throw them, and then he like plants them again. And I just like javelin whipped. And these posts have like metal spears, and so they go into the ground.
It's a spear.
And yeah, so I just whip it, and it's like going up in the air in this arc, and then it comes down so that it sticks in the ground, and he'll just put it wherever he needs it. But his dog's out there, and it lands like a foot from the dog and almost skewers his dog. I'm like, oopsies.
Wow. What kind of dog?
I don't know, a little farm dog.
A little cute farm dog.
Yeah, it was actually a pretty adorable dog. Black lab mix, maybe? I don't know.
A black lab mix.
Yeah. So, that was a nice reminder of my roots.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, country life.
What'd you get for Christmas?
Oh, speaking of country life,
I was gonna say what's what reminded me.
I got a
Ask you how did you shoot?
clay pigeon launcher,
Nice.
trap launcher, skeet launcher. I'm not sure. There's a difference between trap shooting and skeet shooting. I don't know what the difference is. I don't know. It's probably something Jamie could Google for us. I think it's kind of like the difference between like weightlifting and powerlifting.
So no difference.
Yeah, where it's like
It's the same thing ultimately.
Or it's like there's weight space lifting, and then there's weightlifting, all one word. Where the weightlifting, one word, is a very specific sport. It's a very specific form of lifting weights.
So there's lifting weights, and then there's a more regimented version of lifting weights.
Yeah. And powerlifting, and then powerlifting is another very specific way of lifting weights.
An even more specific subset of weightlifting, one word.
No. Completely separate.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I think Skeet and Trapper, it's like, yes, are both of them shooting clay pigeons out of the air with a shotgun? But Skeet and Trap have different rules. I don't know.
I think it's a rules thing.
Yeah. There's people that probably know that are listening to this who are like, idiots.
Screaming at the speakers.
Yeah. So I got that. So can't wait to go out and blast some clay pigeons. Pew. I also got a bidet.
Yes. You sent a photo of it. In use, mid-use. And I thought, poor taste, but glad you are.
Well, I mean, how else are people supposed to know what it is unless they see it in action?
Yeah, there's one picture with just the device, and then I was like, what? And then the next picture, oh, no.
Of what the device does.
And then a third of your face with a coy bumpkin smile.
Yeah, so I got a bidet. I almost broke it on the first day. Trying to install it.
Oh. You're like,
it got some pretty heavy use Christmas Day.
You're like, more. More.
Oh, trust me, I have not got that thing to max pressure.
Is it like pretty powerful?
Yeah.
Is it like shoot a hole in you powerful?
It's like
like those water
anything beyond
cutters.
Like 30. Yeah. Anything beyond 30%, you're now in like enema territory.
You're in ouchie territory.
You're not washing your bum, you're washing the inside of your bum.
You're cutting a piece of wood in half.
Yeah. So it's good, It's nice to be part of the upper crust of society.
Damn, I need one of those. Just in case toilet paper runs out.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Theo was on the bidet train before it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And he was shouting it out any chance he got.
He's the original bidet man. I feel like we need to get him on the podcast somehow remotely. You know what? He would need recording materials to do that, but sounds like we might have to do it with you remotely here soon too.
I don't know.
Everyone's moving away.
Thank goodness I got that new headset for great.
Yeah. You'll be able to hear my voice in your ear just
was it
crystal clear.
Fan of the podcast, Andrew Cacao was always telling us about his software he uses for remote.
Yeah.
That copycat Andrew Cacao.
That dumb copycat. Do you think he still listens? We haven't had an email from him in quite some time.
He's too busy for us. He listened to us, got inspired to make his own podcast, and he's
shooting for
hasn't
the
looked
stars.
back.
He hasn't looked back once at all. Yeah.
So yeah, so the technology exists.
So you got a bidet, you got some skeet shootings, you get anything else? You got some socks.
I got these Mando socks.
Looks like you got a toque as well.
This was actually my stocking stuffer for all the guys in the family. I bought everyone these Carhartt toques. They're pretty trendy.
Yeah.
I also bought one for myself and Jasmine because she's
Cool.
like, well, I want one.
Yeah.
I was like, well, if you get one, I get one.
And then everybody has one. So where's mine? I guess is the question, huh? Where's mine? Where's old Troy's toque, huh?
Sorry, you got COVID, so
Fair.
Christmas was canceled for you.
You're canceled. You got COVID.
Those are the rules.
Yeah.
let's see. I got a handcrafted knife from my father-in-law. Even the leather sheath that goes in is handcrafted.
Pretty sick.
And they also got me some retro gospel books from the Cardston bookstore.
Wow.
I love going in there, going to their used section and finding like really old, controversial,
Yeah.
like
When they used to talk about stuff.
yeah, when they used to say stuff and they meant it.
Yeah.
None of this like
Wishy-washy.
new
feel
age
good.
like
You're
this-
important to God.
yeah. There's like books that are like they're like chances are you're going to the celestial kingdom. That's like the title of a book.
Yeah.
I'm like I don't want to read that.
I want to read the book that's like, you're probably not going to go to the celestial kingdom. Let's be real.
I want B.H. Roberts
Let's be honest.
laying down the thick and heavy doctrine.
You'll be laying bricks in the terrestrial kingdom if you're lucky. You'll be
Are you even one of God's elect? The fact that you're in this bookstore buying books instead of writing them seems to speak otherwise.
You're a son of perdition. Let me tell you why.
By Spencer W. Kimball.
Yeah.
I love those books.
Your perdition himself. Yeah.
So they bought me a couple of those. They knew I like that kind of stuff. Real worn.
Outer darkness is your new home. Let's just walk you through it. You're bad. The book.
Yeah, so yeah, that was good. That was good.
Very good.
Got lots of treats from the parents and the stockings, and I got some Star Wars books.
Oh, nice. So did I. I got a comic book. If you look down there,
Is it a Vader one?
it's a Vader comic book. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I've read this one.
Can't wait to read it.
I love the Vader comics.
Yeah, me too.
I got the second Thrawn book,
Nice.
and I got that Master and Apprentice book that was recommended to us
Ooh, yeah.
by true and faithful listener M.
Cool.
But apparently, Jasmine accidentally sent it to Cardston. So Amazon was like, this doesn't make sense, and so I haven't gotten it yet.
I see.
Which is fine. It'll give me some time to read about Thrawny Boy.
Good old Thrawny boy. I guess, is that a good enough transition into a Star Wars territory talk? Star Wars talk?
I think so.
Is there anything else we need to cover or discuss?
Well, I don't know, because if we get into Star Wars, oh boy,
Oh, boy.
we have got a lot to discuss.
There really is a lot to say. Let's see. We got here. We need to go. There we go.
Anyway, I'll run the
This-
calculations.
We're in the second hour now.
We gotta
So we've
crunch
been
the
recording
numbers.
for 1 hour and 7 minutes. Is that right? I always get this wrong. Maybe I won't even try. Let's see. Is there anything else we need to cover? I don't think so. I think the only current
About Christmas.
Nah,
COVID.
I got a smartwatch. I got a friggin' Darth Vader comic and
Let's
some
see.
clothes.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Jasmine
about it.
tried to buy me an Xbox Series X.
Oh my god.
She's like, I went to Best Buy to pick one up for you, and they laughed at me. They're like, no, you don't just show up and get one.
no, you gotta order it online, and then they,
Hopefully the bots don't
yeah.
steal it.
I can't wait till supply just meets demand. I can't wait for that with PlayStation 5. I don't care about Xbox.
Yeah, you're a PlayStation guy.
Yeah.
Haven't you bought one for $1,000 from the resellers?
I did, and then it was just a block of concrete. So I sort of I learned my lesson the hard way twice, and fool me twice, I'm an idiot.
I've bought 2 empty PlayStation 5 boxes.
Yeah, filled with popcorn. So that's a nice little consolation prize.
Got
I
a little
suppose.
treat.
Yeah, but the caramel popcorn plus a brick at the bottom. But yeah, it's nothing quite like the actual thing. I don't think so.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's all right.
Next time.
We'll make it through. So, all right, what do we with Star Wars? Here's the thing. There's a couple that we got the Mando season 2, basically the rest of the season to discuss.
We haven't even talked about Disney's
and the lineup coming up. Yeah.
Their investors meeting or whatever.
Oh my gosh, so much news. So much news to cover.
All this news from a month ago.
So much
where anyone
news
listening to this who cares already knows.
You already know.
But
maybe they don't.
Do they know what we think about it?
Absolutely not.
They don't.
They probably can make assumptions. It's just like, we like it. Hooray.
This is great. I guess I won't cancel Disney Plus.
Yeah. Well, cancel it and then
cancel it right now. There's nothing on there.
Well, you got The Simpsons. You got my parents pay for it, so I'm just sort of piggybacking off them. But
no, I'm the one that pays for it for my family. Got everyone piggybacking off my account.
I should have paid for the Disney Plus. They actually my parents are now paying for Netflix and Disney Plus, so maybe I'm paying for Crave. $20 a month. That's quite a bit.
What?
Yeah. But you get all these sweet HBO shows.
Oh, really?
Curb Your Enthusiasm, The Sopranos.
Don't you own The Sopranos?
Yeah, I do. I own The Wire.
I keep trying to borrow those DVDs from you. Speaking of TV, you know what I just finished over the Christmas break with my wife?
What's that?
Mad Men.
Oh, had she seen it all before?
We were powering. She had not seen it. We were powering through trying to get it before they took it off Netflix.
Yeah.
But we got to the end of season 6 and we just weren't fast enough.
Oh, it's off Netflix now?
Oh, it's been off Netflix since June.
Oh, that's a shame.
And then I was waiting to see where they put it on. And then apparently in October, it went on to Amazon Prime.
Okay.
So luckily I'm piggybacking off someone's Amazon Prime account.
Yeah, I'm piggybacking off my sister's Amazon Prime.
So yeah, Mad Lads is back on Amazon Prime. So over my little Christmas break, it's been my Christmas break. Jasmine is not on Christmas break.
That's a shame. It's too bad.
But we've been watching Mad Lads, and we finally finished it. She was very unsatisfied.
By the ending?
By the ending.
I thought it was a very satisfying ending.
Yeah.
I think they do a good job.
Because they leave it kind of open, and she's like, he totally goes back.
Yeah, and he makes that ad.
Yeah. That's I think, is supposed to be the interpretation.
If we are to believe the cool shop effect at all, which is, that there is a relational, there's a relationship between shots that are cut together beside each other, then, yeah.
I think it's supposed to be assumed that he changes his ways, goes back, raises his children, and goes back to work at McCann.
I don't know about that. But I think he does some good work in the advertising industry.
Yeah, it's hard to say,
I think he does. Yeah, he has a breakthrough. He has a breakthrough for sure, and he has a new outlook on life, perhaps. But also, is it a little? It's kind of a cynical outlook too, where it's like this breakthrough becomes a Coke commercial. He has this breakthrough, and then but also maybe it's the actualization of his dream. This whole series had been he wants to work for Coca-Cola. He wants the big brand.
It's funny, right? Because it goes back to season 1 where he's like, love is something that advertisers created to sell pantyhose.
Right.
And then of course, he's in his little therapy session, and the guy's like, maybe I am loved, but I've just never known what love is.
Yeah.
I've never even known what to look for. And Don is crying, giving him a hug.
Yeah.
Because Don always thought love is the thing that advertisers use to sell products.
Yeah.
And now he finally realizes what love is, which he then uses to sell a product through advertising. Maybe.
I think he does. But I think he also does make that breakthrough. That hug is very nice. I like the hug. For those who haven't seen the last episode of Mad Men, spoilers.
Yeah.
He hugs a guy, cries. That's about it.
But then, and also, since Mad Lads, as we call it, was taken off of Netflix, Jasmine and I started watching Bad Lads, a.k.a. Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad Lads.
Yeah.
What a great show. That's a great show.
Yeah, and I've just been like, and so this is probably like my third time watching Breaking Bad, but Jasmine's first.
I could go through Breaking Bad again. That's a really good show. It just moves along. It's 5 seasons. It's so short. Like, it's such a short and tight 5 seasons. Man, it's good.
Yeah.
Except for like season 1 is a little slow in the beginning.
Oh yeah.
And anything with Marie is pretty rough.
Oh yeah.
I've skipped whole scenes with Marie, like I did, and was never near the worse for it.
Yeah.
Marie is kind of
This was the first time I noticed Marie's theme of purple.
yeah.
I never was conscious. And Jasmine's like, she always wears purple and everything she has is purple.
Yeah.
I was like, I've never noticed that. I wonder if that's important. I don't know.
Hank went from being my least to like my most favorite character from the beginning to the end of that show. He's so unlikable in the beginning.
Yeah.
He's so unlikable. And then by the time he's just like afraid in his room collecting rocks, I'm just like, this is
minerals, Troy.
This is my guy.
Yeah.
This is
You're
my
like,
guy.
this guy I can relate to.
This guy who's afraid in his room collecting minerals and solving crimes from his couch. This is my guy.
But we can't discuss any further
Okay.
for spoilers.
Okay.
We're as far as
Yeah.
Hank in his room collecting minerals, but Jasmine has not heard anymore. And she's one of 5 people listening to this.
Right. Okay.
So we're not going to go any further.
What was a show? I was watching a show recently. Dang it, what was that? And I really connected with the character. Oh, it was Bond. Yeah. So I watched all the James Bond movies. I guess I should tell you that.
I did know that. You were giving us some updates.
Yeah, I watched every James Bond movie there is. I'm now fully up to date.
Give me your top 3 and your bottom 3 real quick.
Okay, so top 3 is going to be... I'm hesitant to just give top 3. I'm going to give Casino Royale and Skyfall 2 of those top 3 spots.
Give them a little shared.
I'm hesitant to say GoldenEye's number 3.
That's a nostalgia position, I think.
I
feel like for people our age,
yeah,
GoldenEye.
It's our first Bond, probably.
It was like our first Bond, and of
Yeah.
course the video game.
Video game, yeah.
Also, it was it was pretty good.
Go back and watch it. It's actually there's some goofy. Pierce Brosnan is at his best in that one. Like, he gets worse as the movies go on.
Well, that was his first one, right?
Yeah. And his hair is so good, and he's young, and he's still kind of believable as like a spy who can defend himself physically. And then by the end of the series, he's like, by the time Die Another Day comes along, you're like, yee, this guy's old.
Because he did GoldenEye, and that was good.
Yeah.
And he did The World Is Not Enough.
Tomorrow Never Dies.
Tomorrow Never Dies.
And then The World Is Not Enough.
The World Is Not Enough.
And then Die Another Day, which is a complete jumping of the shark. He's surfing on a wave. He surfs on a wave. He's like sky, whatever. James Bond surfing on a CG thing on makeshift materials wherein he does not get wet at all. That's a real jump in the shark situation.
Right.
I want to give Sean Connery some props too, though. Dr. Knows, listen, all the old Bonds are kind of boring. They're a little hard to get through. In a way, though, they're like there's something really comforting about the sameness of it all. Like, I think probably the worst Bond is on Her Majesty's Secret Service, George Lazenby's movie. I think that's the worst one. I think another
was he Timothy Dalton. He only got one.
Timothy Dalton got 2.
He got 2. George Lazenby got.
He got 1.
He got 1.
Yeah, he walked away from it.
As he should.
Yeah, he was not. He should not have ever been James Bond. People love Sean Connery, and I think for good reason. He's just such a good. Sean Connery's so good with the quips.
Yeah,
his quip delivery is I think second to none. Let me tell you what all the Bonds are best at. Sean Connery is
The quippiest.
he's great with the quips. They're not too silly. They're very like, oh, I wouldn't dare, you know. He's so like, he delivers them in such a sincere, funny, you know, kind of dry way. And he's a believable ladies man. I think he's a believable, I believe that.
You're like, this guy could pull chicks.
This guy, this guy.
Also, he's like the rapiest Bond, though.
He's a little rapey, yeah. You're right.
So it's kind of like, he's such a charmer, but it's like, crap, he's also like the rapiest.
That's like that's like a writer's standpoint, though. That's not like, I don't think that's him. But yeah, back in the day, that's sort of.
It's the 60s, you know?
It's the 60s. Yeah, Goldfinger, he basically like, what's her name? I think it's Pussy Galore in that one. She does not want to kiss Bond, but Bond's like, I'm kissing you, and he just like grabs her. And there's this theme of like, I'm gonna kiss you until you relent, and that happens like far too often. But
yeah, unfortunate, a product of its time. We can't judge it.
Don't judge it in the context of the time. So judge the time, not the thing itself.
Yeah.
So George Lazenby, I guess he's the most like silly. I don't know. He's the most like wacky one.
I don't know if I've even seen that one.
It's so weird. It's like, so in the first like 5 minutes, he does this like action scene, and then he literally looks into the camera, breaks the fourth wall, and says, "You wouldn't say the other guy do that," and then he runs off.
Oh yeah, isn't he like the reason that Austin Powers exists? Like the fact that like Mike Myers could make a parody of James Bond is because of like George Lazenby.
I don't think so. I mean, so much of it was interesting to like watch the movies and be like, "Oh, this is what that's from. This is what that Austin Powers reference is from."
I mean, he's doing the whole James Bond
the
thing.
whole series.
What was your favorite Roger Moore? That's his name, right?
Yeah,
he was a good one.
He was better than Lazenby, but I think he's got a great voice. He's a handsome guy.
Didn't he do like, doesn't he have like some of the most?
He's tied with Connery for the most, which is 7.
Right.
He did, I think Live and Let Die is really good.
Yeah.
I think, forgetting the names of them now.
He did Moonraker.
I did not like Moonraker.
I don't know why. I think it's because I loved the Moonraker laser in Goldeneye.
Yeah.
But yeah, Moonraker is
Jaws,
ridiculous.
I like how Jaws gets a girlfriend in that movie, and then he turns good. I like that.
The love of a woman can turn a man good.
Yeah. He got a hot girlfriend, too. She's like very good looking. It was like fun to be like, okay, who's the beautiful woman this time? Oh, I can give you my top Bond girls too. I think Thunderball Thunderball is it's so hard to rank these, but I remember like watching Thunderball.
Well, it has like that iconic scene. A lot of people.
Domino is her name, and the lady villain is very beautiful too in that one. There's always got to be two. There's like a good Bond girl and a bad Bond girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, Roger Moore's stuff I found a bit of a slog. I like the one with Christopher Walken. Which one was that?
Isn't it in like Paris or something? I thought
he's a horse racer.
Christopher Walken. I thought he was in the Timothy Dalton one.
No, he's in Roger Moore. It's like the last one Roger Moore does. What one is that? The Living? No, that's
Die Another Life.
Yeah, it's always these. It's always. I miss like the early Bonds because they, the Goldfinger, Thunderball, like these very one word. It's like Skyfall is good for that. Yeah. When it becomes a sentence with death in it or die, it's always like die the next day. No
the
time. The
world is not enough to die.
To die. Yeah, there's
the world's to die for. Is To Die For actually a title of one
Okay, I'm going to go through the Roger Moores. You got Live and Let Die. What's the next one? I want to say Man with the Golden Gun. Oh my gosh, there was a time last month I could have recited all of these.
Isn't there like 26?
There's 25 out 25. Right now. There's the 26th is coming out next year, hopefully. Anyway, I will say that I wanted to say this. I had this thought about Timothy Dalton's Bond. I think his Bond is the most sincere Bond. His Bond is the most like empathetic, sincere, earnest. He's so like, I think he treats women the best. Maybe like I think he like at the end of The Living Daylights, which is a very good Bond film. He's like, I feel like he's really in love with this woman, you know. Whereas like Sean Connery's like, I'm going to have sex with someone else tomorrow. Like he's very much, you know.
He doesn't love him.
Same with Roger Moore. I think he's one of these like very cold, just like, Connery and Moore have a lot in common in that regard. And then I think Pierce Brosnan is like maybe like the most handsome Bond. I might give that to him. He's the most like personified, and this was probably just my own nostalgia of like he's the first guy to me who was Bond. So I'm like he's like who Bond should be. And then Craig I think is like the best action Bond by far, by a long shot.
Yeah.
And also
the best blonde Bond.
The best blonde Bond. He's better than Roger Moore for sure. And I think he's someone who channels Connery in a way too. He's got a lot of the same.
They're both balding.
Yeah, he's got the same swagger. He's got the same like, yeah. There's something.
I think Connery, like Craig, had a physical presence.
Yeah.
Like Connery was this smooth, quippy guy, but it looks like he could actually win a fight.
Yeah, I believe his physicality. Moore was 46 when he started to be Bond.
Yeah.
The same age as Connery when he ended. Actually, man, there's this crazy Bond movie. So there's this weird rights dispute that happened surrounding Ernst Stavro Blofeld, which was like the main villain of the Bond films for many films. And then
Dr. Evil.
Yeah, basically. And then there was a rights dispute, and then the rights were reverted back to the original. Someone won them. And so now you had two Bond films. There was one Bond film where what were the films? So Never Say Never Again, which was Connery's last film, and he was old. He was very old in this movie. And he's just like, yikes, you should not still be making Bond movies. And then there was another, I forget all the Roger Moore movies. I think it was on my phone half the time through those movies. But there was another movie that came out at the exact same year. So there's two Bond movies, two different Bonds, same year.
Like one of them's not MGM?
Yeah, it was, one of them. So the Connery Bond was sort of the unofficial Bond.
Oh.
It was weird. But anyway, so... And then you had, I recommend it to anyone. Like, if you got Crave, if you got any interest in Bond, it's an interesting exercise to watch all of those movies back to back to back to back. 25 movies.
I remember I tried it one time.
It's not easy.
It's tough, but there's some gems in there.
There are some gems, and again, there's something comforting about the sameness. It's like, okay, let's go on a new adventure. And they're really like, it's hard to watch other movies after the Bonds because they're so exciting. It's like the height. It's the reason why they've lasted this long, and that every time a Bond movie comes out, it's like a worldwide event. Like they're just, they're fun movies. There's something about this character that is just so fun and interesting, and like, you know, he doesn't care, but he does care, and he's so capable, so effortlessly capable, and it's very good. I had a great time.
Now remind me, I feel like I've missed a Bond movie recently. Like
for the
Daniel Craig. So he did Casino Royale.
Yeah.
Very good. Great debut.
Maybe the best Bond movie of all of them.
Yeah. And then follows it up with Quantum of Solace.
Maybe the worst.
Not good.
That's going to be in my bottom 3 for sure.
That was quite the swing.
Yeah.
And then he does, was it
Skyfall?
Skyfall.
Yeah.
Also very good.
Yeah.
He's done another one, hasn't he?
Spectre.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
It's not great. It's
Yeah.
it's not Skyfall. It's not I think there was a lot of so something that happens in Spectre is Ernst Stavro Blofeld comes back. They have the rights for him now, and so they're
does he go on some freaky little island?
that's on Skyfall. He goes to Silva's island. Man, Skyfall is so good, and Silva's such a good villain. And here's the thing.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen Spectre.
Spectre's you should watch it.
How do you even watch it?
It's on Crave.
All right, well, send me those logins.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's
so
okay.
When did that one come out? Must have been years ago.
Years, yeah. It's got to be at least 3 years ago.
Because I thought
2017.
So I never
17. I think it's 2017.
I think it was before that. Well, we could easily look it up, but
Let's take a look.
because the point is, I never got. Isn't that the one? It wasn't very good, and Daniel Craig was like, "I'm done being Bond," because it's like the flip flop between.
Yeah.
It's like he makes a great one, then he makes a crappy one, then he makes a great one, then he makes a crappy one.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't do this anymore.
I don't know if that was. I just imagine the process of making a Bond is so arduous.
And he's like 50.
And he's so physical with the role too. Like the stuff they have him doing, like Casino Royale, they put him through the ringer in that movie. All the underwater stuff alone would be enough for me. Yeah, these are all the my IMDb search list is just the name of all these Bond movies. Spy Who Loved Me. Yeah, let's go.
From Russia with Love. That one was great.
It was all right.
Do I have this?
You have a false
Do I have
memory.
a rose lens over all of Roger Moore's work?
From Russia with Love, The Spy Who Loved Me is Roger Moore. From Russia with Love is Connery.
Nah.
Okay, so yeah, you're right. Spectre was 2015.
Yeah.
Whoa, really?
I feel like there's no way I would have not seen a Bond movie, but I have no memories. Is this the one? There's like he works with the Bond girl is like another 00 agent.
No, the Bond girl is Leah Seydoux. It's like Leah Seydoux has been she was in Mission Impossible. It's like she's every spy girl for a while. 2015. I think she was also in Mission Impossible very very recently. Yeah, it wasn't great. Yeah, see, I want to look at the list of all these
how's there a Bond
movies.
movie from 2015 I haven't seen? I must have seen it and it was just so bad I don't remember it.
I don't think you've seen it. It's Dr. No. Dr. No's good. From Russia with Love is like you start to see where the series can go, which is cool. Goldfinger is a great villain. But so here's another observation generally about a lot of these Bond movies, especially the older ones. I found myself saying why? Why? I remember because I was just eating and breathing this. I remember waking up sort of half asleep and sleep talking, and I just literally woke up saying why? and the why is asking why do the villains do what they do? Why don't they just kill? Goldfinger is he's just walking around the villain's compound for the whole movie. Why? Why doesn't he just kill him? Thunderball is the underwater one. There's so much. There's an underwater battle at the end of Thunderball. It's kind of
spear guns. And stuff.
it's kind of cool. You Only Live Twice. You Only Live Twice might be one of my favorite Connery ones. It's pretty racist in its portrayal of he basically does. They dress him up as a Japanese man, which is a little problematic.
I do remember that.
But damn, it's got a great final battle and the great lair. A great final lair. It's inside of the hollowed out volcano. It's very
That's right.
good. And then you got On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which is not good. Diamonds Are Forever, which is the last true Connery Bond film.
Great theme music.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing. Let me tell you what my favorite.
You haven't finished top Bond girls, but now we got to do top theme songs.
The top theme songs are gonna be. It's one of Roger Moore's, I think. Is it? It's not Moonraker. You know, it might be
because there's one they got like John McCartney to do, and they like it still gets like played
Live and
on
Let Die. Yeah.
still like gets played on the radio every now and then.
Yeah, you know what? He might have Roger Moore might have the best musical themes. So I think it's View to a Kill. Duran Duran did A View to a Kill.
That's Timothy Dalton, isn't it?
That's Roger Moore.
That's Roger Moore.
And man, that song rips, A View to a Kill. I forget how it goes, but I remember like singing it in the shower. It was so good. Couldn't believe it. Octopussy's weird. For Your Eyes Only. Your Eyes Only, I was bored. Moonraker is like, ugh. Spy Who Loved Me. I didn't mind this one, actually. And then Live and Let Man with the Golden Gun. I liked Man with... For more, I like Live and Let Die, Man with the Golden Gun, View to a Kill.
I think to enjoy Roger Moore, you had to really embrace that they were being very campy.
Yes.
And once, if you embrace that, then you're like, yeah, these are good.
So, like, the Moonraker was obviously the most campy. For Your Eyes Only was sort of this, like, they brought it back down to earth. Octopussy, they sort of, like, went a little weird with it again.
Yeah.
And then A View to a Kill is, like, I think they found the mix on that one. Pretty good. Man, I love these movies, dude. And then Living Daylights is great. License to Kill, not as good as you remember it. He's still a good Bond, though. Yeah, so, and then No Time to Die. I'm excited for this one. Kind of. Actually,
that's the new one.
I'm a little hesitant.
Why is that one that one's done?
Yeah.
And why can't they decide when to release it?
COVID, bro.
Well, I don't know. They threw Wonder Woman out there.
I
almost rented it.
That's true. I heard it's terrible.
Really?
Yeah, I heard it's so bad.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah. Watching Bond, though, the Daniel Craig ones, I was like, man, I want to get that, like, he's so, like, shredded in the movie. You can tell, like, in his face is just so, like, gaunt. Like, he's just, like, he's
This
burnt.
guy hasn't eaten a carb in like 5 years.
His face is just so, like, sunken in. I'm like, damn, I want that sunken in face look.
I'm tired of my fleshy face.
Yeah, I want to look like a dead-faced guy. Just a sunken in. Just a James Bond.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. So that's my
nice.
James Bond
I remember we were going to watch the Bond films for Movie Club.
Oh, it would have been so good, dude. It would have been so good. It would have taken so long.
It would have been worth it.
That's a year. You take a year, you watch
every 2 weeks.
Yeah. And it's about,
I'm ready for that ride. 2021, let it be the year of Bond.
Should we take that ride? I would honestly do it again. I had such a good time watching those Bond films. Yeah. I'm tempted to just start over again. Like, you know how people watch Friends over, like The Office over and over, or Mad Men, or Breaking Bad. I think James Bond is one of those things we can just put it on replay.
Okay, well, Theo, if you're listening to this, come back.
Theo has stopped listening to the podcast, I think.
I want him back for Movie Club.
I know, I do too. That was a fun thing. Okay. Let's talk Star Wars.
Star Wars. The Mandalorian. Let's get the Mandalorian out of the way.
Broad strokes. What did you think of the second season? Highlights, lowlights.
I thought it was good. I just finished watching the Star Wars Gallery last night.
I haven't seen that one.
I loved the behind-the-scenes stuff. Because there was, for instance, like the first episode with the crate dragon.
Yeah.
I was like, they went on location for that, didn't they?
Yeah.
These are some really big like scenes. They didn't. The only time they went on location was Boba Fett's little episode on the hill, Grogu's hill.
You know, see, this is like why I thought it was so cool to see all the behind the scenes stuff for the first season, and then as I start the second season, I couldn't get it out of my head like they're on like a little it's like a little oval. They're on an oval right now. That the
Yeah.
scene, like it was hard for me because all of the tricks worked so well in the first season, and then in the second season, I was like, I know the tricks now. I know the secrets.
Oh, and that because, for instance, in the episode with Mayfield, Bill Burr, where he's like scrapping TIE fighters,
Yeah.
and like in the background you can see these rusted old TIE fighters.
Yeah.
Those are actually like models,
Oh, that's cool.
and so they're now like taking like they're like models like the size of like 8-inch models of TIE fighters that they just take a picture of and project that onto the screen.
Oh, I like
and so it still looks real because they use their ships, their space flight scenes are all models with like very good lighting, so it looks real. So they're all doing like the practical effects stuff, but it's like using practical effects and then putting it on the screen.
Yeah.
So I don't know, you're just like, oh, that's ruined. Now when I watch that episode, I'm going to be like, those aren't even real TIE fighters. And I'm like, no, I think that's great that it's like, they're like, those TIE fighters in the background aren't real. It's on a screen.
Doesn't it affect your immersion a little bit? Like, can't you
Well, I don't watch the behind the scenes stuff before. I watch it after the fact.
I guess.
So then I see like the Dark Troopers aren't CGI at all.
What?
Well, they're not. There's like 10% CGI. The Dark Troopers, those are all people in the suits.
No way.
Which is funny because the whole point of they're like, these model of Dark Troopers don't even have anyone in the suit anymore.
Yeah.
Except when they film it, there's absolutely someone in the
There's a bunch
suit.
of people.
And then they just have to CGI like the hands and elbows, like the joints,
Yeah.
to be robotic.
Damn.
But there's actually people being like, meow, meow, meow.
That's pretty cool.
Because like they said, like in the original like Vader, like because if you CGI Vader, the surfaces are perfect and the light reflects off it perfectly. But if it's a real suit, your eyes can tell the difference.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's a lot of work because then you have to CGI it and then you have to CGI imperfections into it. You have to engineer that.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's not even like worth it.
Yeah, you'd rather just get the real thing.
So, you got to practical effects it.
Yeah.
So that was real good. But, so that's the gallery stuff.
Should we
I
talk
really
about?
enjoyed, but
Should we
I
just
like
jump
that
right to it.
Season 2, it was bigger.
Yeah.
They opened up the story a lot more.
Yeah.
They bring in characters, a lot of George and Dave. Looking on a first name basis with them.
George and Dave.
A lot of George and Dave's
And John.
characters from
Clone
the
Wars,
animated
yeah.
series. They bring them in, and as Dave Filoni says, he's like, we're not just bringing them in for the sake of bringing them in. They have to serve a purpose in this show.
Yeah.
So I thought that was great.
And do you think that they do serve the purpose, or is it sort of like?
Well, it's a little wish. So Ahsoka.
Uh-huh.
One of the last things we talked about was that, like, the last episode I think we discussed, it's like, oh, Bo-Katan.
Yeah, yeah.
She's in there.
She looks good.
Katie Sackhoff, the voice actress, actually doing it.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I know a Jedi. Go see Ahsoka. And we're like, we know Ahsoka because we watch those kids shows.
Yeah.
But then, yeah.
So.
And then, so then they do an Ahsoka episode directed by Dave Filoni.
Mm-hmm.
He's not messing around. It's his character.
Yeah.
His and George.
Yeah.
Him and George made it together.
Mm.
A lot of people forget the Clone Wars was George for most of it.
Mm.
First 5 seasons. First 4 seasons.
It's funny. It gets good at around season 5-ish. Somewhere in there.
As soon as it's just Dave working on it, just Dave Filoni.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like George sold it off and was just like, I don't give a rip anymore.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think George is a really good producer. I think he's a real good producer. He's a good person to have. Obviously, he's the king of the lore, but as far as like his technical skill with like story and directing and editing,
Hey, inventing movie technology, he's great.
He's so good. Characters, sort of a fundamental understanding of like archetypes, great. World building, great. Sort of, off the top of his head, name creation, it's okay. It's like there's a
Hey, he can't be good at everything.
there's a prequel character called what is his name? Poof. It's called Poof. first name Poof. I forget the last name. It's like but it is like a weird sort of like gay slur name. Like he just took two gay slurs and like slapped them together.
He's like Star Wars.
Poof. I gotta look this up.
I think you're making it up.
I swear it's real.
Okay, so they bring in
Kiadi Mundi is like, who comes up with this? You know,
They're Star Wars names. Okay, so George and Dave, they bring him in. So that's where we left off was the Ahsoka episode.
Yeah.
Which the purpose they say they're like, because Ahsoka is able to communicate with baby Yodes through the Force. Be like, oh, by the way, his name's Grogu.
Yariel Poof. That's his name. Get everybody.
Okay. Right. So that serves a purpose in the show. I mean, because remember, first of all, when he's like, I need to find more Mandalorians. Mandalorians will be able to help me. And it's like, he doesn't even know that. First of all, the only Mandalorians he knows are like the ones from his weird...
The Armorer.
Yeah, like his weird like FLDS Mandalorians.
Yeah.
He doesn't even like know real Mandalorians. Yeah. So he's like, if I find some Mandalorians, they'll help me. And I guess they do because they're like, you idiot, you need to find a Jedi, not us.
Yeah, do you find that like the way that the season worked was like sort of a thinly veiled way of just sort of batting Mando around to some some objectives and some go see this character we want to showcase,
Yeah.
I mean, there's an argument to be made that like Ahsoka was like she was kind of essential, but also I mean like in that she gave them the next location they have to go to.
So it's like, oh, by the way, his name's Grogu. I'm not going to train him.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
Anyway, my time is done here. Thanks, guys.
And
see you later. Like, bows out.
Take him over to this place. He'll be able to communicate with other Jedi, not me.
Yeah.
Because she's like, I am no Jedi.
Yeah.
It's like, also, it's important that you see me because I'm getting my own spin-off show.
Yeah.
I'm just here to help the Mandalorian out in this regard.
Yeah.
To where they're, And it was a cool, like, samurai style,
Mm-hmm.
And there's, that he picks up. It's always been very video game-esque.
Yeah.
Where it's like he has to go on a random quest, and he has an interaction that he either gains information to lead him in another direction, or he keeps picking up items. Whether it's like the armorer gives him his little launchers that will, like, take out everyone in a room.
Yeah.
So it's like he's gained a new video game ability.
Yeah.
And then it's like, now he's got to go complete this quest to meet Ahsoka. And now he gains a staff made of Beskar steel.
Yeah, it really is quite video gamey. And it's even like level based and it's, each world. It would be a good video game.
Yeah. And so it's like he'll complete a quest, gain an ability that he needs to progress further in the game.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you're going to need a Beskar staff in the next level.
Yeah. Yeah, and we have to establish that a Darksaber can cut through anything except Beskar steel. What'd you think of that fight with Moff Gideon versus Mando in the last episode? I just want to skip to the last episode. Like, what are the...
You want to skip right over Boba Fett?
Oh, yeah, Boba Fett. Dude, it was a good season.
It was good.
I feel like they packed it full of like I don't know what else they can do in a season. It kind of has me worried that like, are they going to do a season 3? Like, has that been confirmed?
Yeah, season 3 is confirmed.
Okay.
Because they had to finish. Here we are. We're already talking about the book of Boba Fett. That little.
Yeah.
Boba Fett's getting his own show.
And it's like.
And so they had to film the first season of that before they could start filming season 3.
Okay. So that's all done.
Yeah. So they just finished filming the Boba Fett one. And now they're starting filming season 3.
Wow.
So, yeah, we're not going to see season 3 of The Mandalorian until 2022.
Don't like that. But also, maybe it's a good sort of break it up sort of a thing.
Okay, we got to work through it till we get to the end here. Okay. So then the Boba Fett episode.
Wait, are we there yet?
Well, so
Like with Ahsoka.
Ahsoka.
What'd you think of her look?
Oh, I think it was fine. Everyone
Just fine?
complained that they're like, it doesn't look exactly the same as the animated. Her montrails are too short. And it's just like, guess what? It'd be friggin' impossible for her to be whipping around,
Yeah.
doing live action
Yeah.
with her montrails that long. And then there's like another name for the top part.
Yeah.
They're like,
I saw this meme. It was like, people were complaining about Ahsoka looking different from her Clone Wars character, and then they're like, and then they show Count Dooku.
yeah,
Like he's just completely different. Like his head is this
so
big,
squished and angular.
Yeah, it's just so thin and weird. Anyway, so it's like, what are you complaining about? I thought she looked great. I thought they did a really good job with the look. I think she did a good job with the performance. Even with like, you get sort of hints of her agility and her ability to sort of jump around and stuff, which is good. Yeah. Okay. So Ahsoka was great.
So yeah, it's like introducing Ahsoka. She puts him on to the next step. And then she's like, oh, look, I defeated this woman. Here's a Beskar staff. Oh, and then the big thing that everyone was losing their mind is like, she's like, where's your boss? Where's Thrawn?
Yeah. So that's going to be her series, presumably.
Yeah. So for people who are fans of Rebels and read the books, they're like, yeah, Thrawn.
Yeah. I love how they put all the deep cuts in. I really love it. Like your casual fans are just gonna love the Star Wars action, but the deep the fans are like, I was just loving all of the they were rewarding people who have seen Clone Wars, read the books, all the extra stuff.
Yeah.
It was really great.
They balanced that pretty well.
Yeah.
Well, and it always works because whenever you're like Jon Favreau and all the directors are doing interviews, they're like, we're such Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
So they're like, yeah, there's going to be some fan service because they're servicing themselves.
Yeah. Disgusting. So do you think, I think it seems like they've got a good team of people now with The Mandalorian seems to have been this really good, like in the NBA, like the seed territory, or they a pool where they pick the talent from. It seems like they have a good pool of talent to pick, where Star Wars is basically, I think, is going to be in the hands of Favreau, Filoni, these who's the woman, and then the woman doing the Kenobi series. Oh, we got so much to talk about.
She directed one episode in season 1.
Yeah.
And it was a good one.
It was a good episode, yeah.
She's doing Kenobi by herself.
I think she's doing all the
See, it's been
thing.
so interesting, The Mandalorian, the way they just like have so many different directors.
Yeah.
So I mean, they do pretty like
it's
a
unified
Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah.
She's done an episode each season.
Mm-hmm.
That like Randy guy. Is his name Randy?
I forget.
I don't know. The new guy they brought in a few new guys.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that directed the Ice Spider episode and the last episode. I want to say Howard.
I thought Jon Favreau was directed the last episode.
I don't think so. I forget his name. I know some people were upset that he was directing, and I looked up his like directing history. He seemed like a fine guy. I don't remember his name now.
Well, I think they have such control over the quality of it. It kind of doesn't matter who's directing in a way, because
John, because it's like John, I think, is on set for everything.
Yeah,
but I think he directed the first one. Carl Weathers directed one.
Yeah, that's right. It was a good ep. Okay.
Anyway, and then there was that
episode guide.
The guitar guy, that like ripped guy with a guitar. He did the Boba Fett episode.
Ripped guy with a guitar.
I mean, you got to watch the Star Wars gallery. I remember he was like, wow, this guy's jacked. And he plays a guitar on set all the time. He directed the Boba Fett one, which I thought was good because his philosophy on it was, he's like, what if this is the only episode people see Boba Fett? So he has to be, in his prime form.
Guess what the IMDb score for The Rescue, the last episode,
9.8 out of 10.
9.9.
9.9.
It's wild. Yeah, it's a dense. So let's just like walk. So we got the Marshal, which is the one with friggin'
Crate Dragon, Timothy.
Timothy Oliphant. Second one was,
and that's where they introduce
spiders.
Boba Fett. They recover his armor.
That's right. Yeah,
And that's the thing I forgot. I keep forgetting. Where I'm just like, this show doesn't even exist without the character Boba Fett.
yeah.
Like all of like the fact that like the Mandalorians exist as a culture is all just a spin-off of one
character,
one little bounty hunter that has like 2 lines.
Yeah,
has spun off all this material.
What a cool character.
And then when you actually get to see him, like finally, like he's like a reoccurring character.
Yeah.
Once again, important to the plot. It's like noise.
Yeah.
And he gets a fresh paint job on his armor.
Like
that was controversial.
I like the fresh coat, to be honest.
Yeah, people are like, we like the battered look, but it's like, no. This guy's been through the stomach of a sarlacc.
Yeah, let him repaint his armor.
Yeah, his like face is melted off.
Yeah.
Let him have shiny armor.
It's kind of matte, actually. It's sort of this matte, not too shiny.
Yeah.
Check out this season, dude. So you got like the Marshal, which is a cool first episode. The Passenger,
and it's like an hour long.
The Passenger, which is kind of It's the worst of the season for sure. But then get this, you get the Bo-Katan episode. You get the Siege episode was another one where I was a little bit like.
That's the Ahsoka one?
No, that's the next one. The Siege is
right.
the Carl Weathers episode.
Oh, yeah.
Where they sort of go to the lab, they find the lab. I think that's the last one that we had covered.
I don't know if we talked about that. But yeah, it's kind of like Bo-Katan is like, you need to go see Ahsoka. And he's like, and it's kind of like, in the meantime, though, he's like, we can go back and visit my friends.
Yeah. So,
but they learn something.
But check out how dense this season is. After that, the Jedi, the Ahsoka episode, the Tragedy, the Boba Fett episode, and then the Believer, the Bill Burr episode, which I quite liked actually.
That was very good.
And then the Rescue. Like it was just such good episodes the whole season, and even like the worst episodes were like still quite good.
Yeah, like episode 2, the passage, like the ice spider frog lady.
Yeah.
It's like everyone kind of like, they're like, we love the frog lady. And
I like how he eats the eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could take that episode out. It doesn't really mean it's kind of important because they bring those pilots back.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're like, oh, we need to bring them in. They have to serve a purpose in the show, which they do. They rescue them. And then, of course, they're also getting a spinoff.
Peyton Reed directed. The last episode. Yeah.
And he did the Ice Spiders one.
Okay. So who directed The Believer? Rick Famuyiwa.
Yeah, Rick. That's the guy I thought was Randy. Rick. Okay. He did the Mudhorn episode in the first one.
Robert Rodriguez, famous film director, directed The Tragedy.
Yeah, that guy, that's the guitar playing guy who's like secretly yoked.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
I was like, Robert Rodriguez, take your shirt off.
Robert Rodriguez. Dave Filoni wrote and directed The Jedi.
Of course.
Episode.
And of course, George Lucas was on set for that episode.
Mm-hmm. The Heiress was directed by, this is the Bryce Dallas Howard one.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's,
Okay, so we got to talk, we're on to Boba Fett.
Fett, yeah.
See, that was a good one. So they have to go to like the little Jedi temple thing for little baby Grogs to reach out in the Force.
I like how they, in the episode, they're like, they're in the standoff, Mando and Boba Fett, and Boba Fett's like, take off your jetpack.
Yeah.
He's like, why?
Like,
he didn't ask why, but the reason is so that he wouldn't be able to just like fly up and, grab the kid.
Where it's just like, I can't trust you. I don't know, that did bother me, where it's just like, it's like a video game thing where it's like something happens where you lose
a power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a previous ability that you had gained in an earlier level.
Yeah, you have to go without it.
Take your jetpack off.
It's like Metroid when you don't have your suit anymore. Yeah. But this was one of the best episodes.
He like brutalizes some stormtroopers.
Yeah, I love it.
with his gaffy stick. His custom made one, apparently.
Yeah, I freaking love that.
Apparently, Tamura.
Timwera.
He wanted to do some Maori combat, some haka.
Oh, he got the Maori combat.
So he's like, give me my own custom gaffy stick. I've been hanging out with the sand people. And he's just like
taking me in.
Shattering stormtrooper armor. And I'm just like, if this wasn't Disney, there would just be like clouds of blood.
I love it. I know. See, yeah, and we can talk about that once we get to the last episode.
And then of course, like R.I.P. the Razor Crest.
Yeah, that was what do you think the tragedy was? I think that's
the tragedy is that baby Yoda gets kidnapped.
But also the Razor Crest gets destroyed.
Yeah, but that's also, they need to destroy the Razor Crest
so that they can unify Boba Fett.
So now it's Boba Fett's like, hop on the slave. Is it the slave one?
Yeah, slave one.
Hop on the slave one. I'm going to really show my worth.
Yeah. Oh, man, I love that when they teamed up. Yeah, and then at the end when he's like, until we get that baby back. I don't know how to do his voice, but we're going to be friends for the rest of whatever. Like, are they just teamed up now? Like, they're just...
Well, it's like there's kind of like a, hey, you got my armor back, and now you gave it back, and he had to like kind of prove. He's like, hey, I'm not exactly a Mandalorian, but I basically am.
Yeah.
That was actually a controversial thing, because George Lucas has been like flip-flopping on, he's like, Jango Fett was a Mandalorian. No, he specifically was not a Mandalorian. And now they've said it, so it's like Jango Fett, like Din, is a Mandalorian foundling.
Yes, he's adopted.
Yeah, he's an adopted Mandalorian, so
that's fine.
And then of course,
who cares? Honestly, who cares? Like, I really whatever.
I don't know. Because people are like, wasn't Jango Fett like the leader of the Mandalorians at one point? They're like, that's in the legends. That's not canon. So it's just like, okay, dude's he fights like a Mandalorian. He's got Mandalorian armor, blah, blah, blah. Then, of course, he comes across Bo-Katan, and she's like, I know your voice. You're a filthy clone.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, give it a break.
I've heard that voice before. Yeah, okay, so all right, so I guess...
So yeah, Baby Yoda gets captured by those dark troopers.
The dark troopers.
Those are scary.
Those are very powerful and scary.
And as I learned, that's also a little shout out to a 1995 Star Wars video game.
Oh yeah. Theo was saying like how scary those are to fight. He was like, those were scary.
Yeah, they're like one of the worst enemies in this video game from 1995. And they're like, yeah, we had to model them so that they looked like what they did in the video game.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You know.
What about then we got the Believer.
See, that was an important one for Mando's character development.
Yeah, there's a lot of character development happening in the Believer.
And Bill Burr.
What do you think of Bill Burr?
He does a great job.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because he got that job because he hates Star Wars. He thinks like Star Wars is dumb. And so they're just like, this is a guy we need to get in Star Wars. And he does a good job.
He does a really good job. My friend Nick, he just can't get it. He can't wrap his brain around. He's just like, that's Bill Burr. But to me, I can get around it because he really is like, he doesn't act any other way other than himself. Like it's Bill Burr in space.
Yeah.
It's Bill Burr. It's Bill Burr
in Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
It's Bill Burr in space. He has one character.
Yeah. If Bill Burr was not in this universe, he was in a universe far, far away, that's the life he would be living.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. Like, that's sort of how I look at it. Plus, he's just entertaining, and he's a pretty good actor.
And I mean, and it's kind of like you got to suspend your disbelief where they're like, it's like, Cara Dune, I need you to break Bill Burr, Mayfield or whatever. I need you to break Bill Burr out of prison. He's the only way we can.
Yeah.
He's the key to all of this.
Yeah. Well, he is a stormtrooper. He has a lot of like inside.
Well, no, he's not a stormtrooper. He worked for, what was it, ISP, basically like the CIA of the
Right.
Empire.
Yeah.
He was like a spy secret agent.
So he's got inside information. He is a valuable asset.
Yeah.
He's an insider.
But it's like the only way we get past those codes is with Bill Burr.
Bill Burr.
And he's
Yeah,
like,
Bill Burr. Yeah. Hey, Mando, you taking that helmet off or what? Huh? Come, what's the deal? Oh, so you take it off sometimes, but not other times. All right. Okay. Bill Burr. That's a pretty good Bill Burr.
That was a very good.
Give me the
That was a very
props.
good Boston accent. That was more
Bill.
like a Casey Affleck.
Bill Burr. No, this is Bill Burr. Hey, listen.
That's Casey Affleck.
Dude, I'm listening to it in my ear. And it's
Yeah, like it's
spot
a
on.
good Boston accent.
Bill Burr. No. Bill Burr.
Okay, it's good.
It's great.
It's a good Bill
All right.
Burr.
Bill Burr.
Or
We're taking
just like a
calls.
generic Southie Boston accent.
Now, this is my generic Boston accent. Boston. Yeah, Casey Affleck. What's he? He's got the real high voice, too. Bill Burr. Bill Burr, he just like sort of, he's cutting himself off as he's like saying, Bill Burr. Like, Bill Burr. Anyways, Mayfield.
It's a nice little like ensemble where they're like, oh, we have to get Fennec and Kara to be Overwatch
Yeah.
because they're our BA girl sniper squad.
We're the girl squad.
And then Boba's like, I'll be in the ship because I'm friggin' Boba Fett and I can't hide anywhere in the galaxy.
Yeah, and he's getaway. He's
the
essential.
wheel man.
Yeah. So great action in this, I thought. There was like the train or the sequence where he's like fighting the guys on the
Oh yeah.
Oh, and I love the like I'm not gonna show my face. I love that they really played around with that idea that like he doesn't show his face. I don't show my face.
Yeah, and he starts making compromise. He's like, let me go around the corner so I can swap my helmet out for a stormtrooper helmet.
Yeah.
He's like, I can do this.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll do that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not my helmet, but it's still a helmet.
It's a helmet. I'm not showing my face.
He's like, I have to do this to save baby Grogs.
Yeah. I thought that speech that Bill Burr does is actually very... Like, that whole episode is it's such a great build up to the finale where, Grogu sees his face finally. Like, they stepped up to that so perfectly in that episode where they're like, is it that you never show your face or that you never take your helmet off? There is a difference. Yeah, so, and then, like, in that episode, like, they deal with his sort of...
Yeah, because it's...
His...
Mando has his morals, his ethics.
Yeah.
And then Mayfield, which he's kind of like a bad guy. Like, he used to work for the Empire.
Yeah.
And he's like, we all have things. We all have lines.
Yeah.
And you kind of learn that he crossed his own lines working for the Empire to where now he's like an enemy of the Empire.
You got to sleep at night. So, and then, yeah, just it was
And
great.
then the showdown with the officer.
Friggin' the White King.
the Night King.
The Night King, yeah.
I know that was a fun little fact. I told Jasmine that. I was like, the actor for that officer that he shoots plays the Night King in Game of Thrones. I was like, which means nothing to you,
Yeah.
but it's important that you know. She's like, oh, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
So yeah, the big thing, he's got to take his
has to take
helmet
his
off
helmet off,
in front
yeah.
of everyone.
Yep.
And it's kind of like he's got to do it to save the child.
Yeah.
So it's like everyone has their line.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it was so good. He takes it off, and then they're just great, like, tense moment. There he is.
Yeah.
Great tense moment where
and it's still like it's Star Wars tense where there's always a joke.
Yeah.
Where it's like, here's Lieutenant Brown Eyes. Or
Yeah, we call him Brown. Yeah, we call him Brown Eyes. Yeah, he doesn't talk too much. He got a concussion grenade. He doesn't hear anything. Bill Burr.
Yeah, and then it's like the heroes on both sides speech.
Yeah.
And Bill Burr has had enough.
Yeah, and then he shoots him. And that was that's a moment where I was like, Bill Burr's a good actor. In that moment, that scene where he's like, trying to hide his disdain for this officer, and then he finally shoots him. Great moment. Then they escape and
A little shootout action.
little shootout, and then Bill Burr shoots the whatever they were gonna, because like they successfully delivered this substance that's going to like be the
turned
cause
into
of
like bombs.
so much despair for the galaxy. So he blows up that and the whole refinery or whatever, and he's like, "You gotta sleep at night, hey Mando." All right.
Yeah, and then they're like, you're free. You're free to go.
Yeah. He's like, all right.
He probably like leaves to go
Do
join like
stand-up comedy. Go to the Comedy Store on Tatooine. Yeah. So it's a good app. It's a good episode. It really sets up some things that are going to be paid off in the final episode.
and they had to figure out where that ship is.
Yeah.
And they had to hack an Imperial terminal.
Yeah.
I think it's like the whereabouts of Moff Gideon's ship are like available to like any
anyone,
officer on any Imperial terminal.
Here's my question though about the showing of the face. Isn't there some record of like all the faces? So it's like, wouldn't the face be like a fingerprint almost to like verify?
Yeah.
With this little tube that's like, okay, they got the tube. Now show us your face so it matches.
Okay, this isn't any officer on record. We'll just log you in as a new one.
Anyway, you're a new
There's got to be like new officers all the time. Also, they're like, you have to be a certain like rank before you get to know the whereabouts, the exact coordinates of like a Moff's ship.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not here to talk about the Imperial Navy's, protocols.
I just thought it was
But sometimes
funny.
they make it a little too easy for the resistance.
Yeah, it's like they're asking to be blown up.
Like, did they have to like be very brave and bold to get to that terminal? Yes.
Oh my gosh, the COVID.
Yeah.
I hope they come up with some movie where they talk about like, yes, I was the one who created the system with the face things, and I implanted a thing in it so that it was very easy. I was a mole inside the Empire the whole time.
Rogue 2.
It's Rogue 2. I created the face recognition software.
They're like, Galen
Urso.
Galen Burso. Come back and be an IT tech for the Empire.
I made it very easy for anyone to,
I've made the internal network of the Empire very easy to hack through this one.
The facial recognition software is
get this information
very
to Mando.
Bad. Many Bothans died to get this information out.
They're like, thank you, Galen Burso.
Galen Burso.
This has been Rogue 2.
Rogue 2. I watched that recently, actually.
I actually watched that as well. With
New Year's Eve, I watched that.
Turns out, remember we did Star Wars for Movie Club?
Yeah.
And Jasmine came by halfway through, I guess.
Yeah.
But there's that one like YouTube channel where the guy asks his girlfriend who's seen Star Wars like once to like explain like the movie, and he animates it, and it's very funny. I showed that to her because sometimes it'd be like, I was like, should we watch Phantom Menace? And I was like, do you remember Phantom Menace? And she's like, there's a boy and there's pod racing. I think that's it.
Yeah.
And so I showed her like the guy, like his girlfriend explains Empire Strikes Back. And it's, he animates it. It's real funny. She's like, I don't know if I've even seen that. And I was like, we got to watch it.
Yeah, you got to watch
But she'd never seen Rogue One.
Rogue One is...
so we watched it. She's like, well, that was
good.
good.
Yeah.
I was like, it is good.
It's got a great third act. It's got a great finale and third act.
Second act,
it slows down a bit.
Well, wasn't that all just a rewrite?
Yeah, I think all the good rewrites came at the end. I think that's where a lot of the good stuff happens. Yeah, because there's some trailer footage that's different from the final version.
Like poor Saw Gerrera. You could tell Dave Filoni wasn't in charge of that.
Yeah, that's for
Dave
damn
Filoni
sure.
would not let Saw Gerrera get such a crappy showing.
Yeah. Saw Gerrera. That's my Saw Gerrera impression. Saw Gerrera. Oh, dude, I got to do for you my I recently discovered how good my Christopher Lee impression, my Count Dooku impression is?
Saruman.
Saruman. I do not. Oh no, I did this before.
You do it all the time.
I did it before.
You love your Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
It will be not easy to secure your release, Christopher Lee. Jedi.
Yes.
Anyway, I was gaming with the pals, and I did it there, and they're like, "Whoa!" So maybe I guess I've done it before.
Point is,
Never mind. Point is, we're on.
Gotta watch more movies with the wife. She's either like, she has no memory of like Empire.
I started, so on New Year's Eve, I watched like Rogue One, and then I had to watch episode 4, and then I had to start episode 5. And I think it was about 4 in the morning, and I had to be like, all right, I'm tired. But yeah, it was good. All right, so we need to discuss the last episode, though.
Last episode.
Which is
so they're finally on the rescue. They're like, we're after this Moff guy.
Yeah.
And he's been rude. He's got the Darksaber.
So
that's the whole reason Bo-Katan agrees to go on the rescue.
Yeah.
She's like, I want that Darksaber.
Because then I can be the leader.
I need it to rule Mandalore.
Yeah.
Them's the rules.
That's the rule. That's the arbitrary rule. Isn't there like a scene somewhere in Clone Wars where they just give the Darksaber and she's like, I'll take it? Like, it sort of contradicts that rule or whatever.
I can neither confirm nor deny that.
Okay.
But, yeah.
So
Jon
anyway.
Favreau, he was a guy that had the Darksaber, didn't he, at one point?
Yeah. His character.
Yeah.
What was his name?
I don't know. Vizsla. Paz Vizsla. No, that's someone else. It's a Vizsla.
Pre-Vizsla?
Yeah. Vizsla's like a clan. So, I don't know. Whatever.
Look it up.
Yeah, so they're like, time to go rescue. What's the big plan? And I do remember the meme. It's like Boba Fett and Luke Skywalker like waving at each other in hyperspace. Because Boba Fett like drops him off and he's like, peace.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't be here for when this other guy shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, did Luke Skywalker have to scan his face at an Imperial terminal?
Dude, it's the Force. Grogu friggin', he's got,
He's got a Force transponder coming out of his
Yeah.
brain.
Well, it's like he's locked onto Yoda, onto Grogu now.
Yeah.
He's locked onto him.
Okay, so that I guess the point of that rescue, maybe I gotta watch. All I remember is it's like Mando fights Moff Gideon,
Yeah.
and it's kind of interesting because it's like
They rescue the
there's been
Grogu.
debate. It's like, is Moff Gideon like a Force user? And it's just like, no,
I don't think
pretty
so.
sure not.
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh, well, here's the baby, and you're going to have to fight me for it.
Did you see that meme that was like at the end of, I think it's whenever the scene where they show Grogu in the cell and Moff Gideon's like, oh, you're tired. Huh? I think it's the end of the tragedy.
Yeah.
And he's like,
In the tiny little handcuffs.
yeah, they're like, put him in shackles. Put him in the baby shackles. And then in the meme, the stormtrooper's like, do we have baby-sized shackles? Are we the bad guys?
Hey, there's lots of races of aliens
That's
in the
true.
Empire. So there's lots of small aliens.
Baby
Maybe they were like,
shackles.
they're probably like Jawa-sized shackles.
Yeah, get some Jawa shackles for him. Yeah, so they board the ship, and yeah, it's good.
And
It's all
like, oh,
so
they're like,
good.
we're the diversion party. You go get baby
Yeah,
Yoda.
talk about the Girl Squad.
Oh, yeah, Girl Squad.
Hell yeah. They're
Yeah.
like, beep, 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 beep,
And they're like, we're not even going to take cover in the hallways.
yeah.
We're just going to form a V formation
yeah.
and just blast the way.
Yeah, I love that. And Cara Dune's just like, my laser gun's jammed. Guess this is an excuse for me to do some melee stuff.
Yeah. She's like, I'm just going to beat some stormtroopers with this gun.
I love the excuses they come up with so that they have to melee are great. And it's every episode. There's some reason why They can't just shoot their way out of
she should
everything.
really take cover and clear the jam in her firearm
Yeah.
before continuing combat.
Just being in the open.
But instead, she's like, if I rush them, they'll panic and I can beat them.
Yeah.
And it worked.
It works. Listen, it
And
works.
I just love because like Mando gets caught in the open sometimes and takes some blaster fire off his Beskar.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, okay, yeah, Beskar can deflect some blaster fire.
Yeah.
It's okay if he gets tagged a couple times.
Cara Dune.
They can't get tagged at all.
Very exposed.
But they just run in there, Leroy Jenkins.
Leroy Jenkins.
But it's like these poor stormtroopers.
Fennec.
And I also, and I love like they're like the dark troopers are in sleep mode.
Yeah.
The Empire is
and
the
they have to
Empire
be charged up.
The Empire's too poor to keep them turned on
Yeah.
the whole time.
I love that bit.
They're like, it's not the Empire of old, energy, the utilities bill comes in every month for these guys now.
Yeah, we gotta keep these guys on low power.
So the dark troopers are turned off, and it's gonna take 15 to 20 minutes to power them
Give
up.
me 10 minutes, and we'll power up the dark troopers. Like the moment. Like, think about when you would need a dark trooper. Probably drop of the hat, right?
Well, no, they have planned missions
That's true.
where they're like, we've got the
Yes.
First of all, that's the other question. How did they get the coordinates to that little Jedi temple? How did Moff Gideon know that's where they would be? How did Boba Fett know that's where they're going to be?
I think they were tracking
The
they were
Razor Crest?
Tracking the Razor Crest, yeah.
And Moff Gideon was tracking Boba.
Probably, yeah.
It all makes so much sense now.
Now it all completely ties together.
Right.
Okay, so
So,
then
yeah.
he finds, so they're making the diversion, and then
And Moff
Mando-
Gideon's like, I'm not falling for this.
yeah,
That's a diversion. They're going after Baby Yodes.
which is where he's with him. Mando finds him. He's like, you know what? Just take the kid. I don't care.
I got his blood. That's all I need.
I just need the blood. I just go then. But like, and then he's like, just kidding. And then they start fighting. It's like, why the
deception.
Why the deception? What was the purpose?
He wanted
of
to get a
that?
cheap shot in.
Okay, fair.
But you can't get a cheap shot on Mando.
No, because he's got the best.
Yeah.
The best guy.
It was kind of strange. So like Moff Gideon's fighting style is very much like, this is not a guy with formal training. This is a guy who's just like really mad. So he's swinging a sword.
Yeah. This is
And
a guy
then
with a sword.
Mando is kind of like, he's got like his staff stance where it's like, has this guy received staff combat training?
Hell yeah, he has.
I guess so. I don't know.
He's a freaking Spartan. He's part of the FLDS, the FLDS Mandalorians.
It's like, it's not a mistake that Beskar staffs exist because they've all been trained how to use them.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. I mean, he's like blocking the dark saber with like his wrists.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this Beskar steel is getting a little too mythical for me.
Honestly, I thought that scene was so great. I loved that fight scene.
Yeah, it was good. And then it's like the Beskar staff is blocking the dark saber, but then it's getting like super hot.
Yeah.
It's like glowing red. It's
That
like,
was cool.
kill.
Very cool.
Kill.
So then he bests him. He gets the dark saber, and that's gonna have some implications in a few minutes. that he
Yeah, I
doesn't
mean,
realize.
people are like, that's like the coolest scene. He's got the dark saber fully wielded.
Yeah.
He hasn't turned it off. Probably doesn't know how.
Yeah.
He's got his
Yeah.
his staff on his back. Baby Yoda in one arm. Moff Gideon defeated in the other arm. Just strolls onto the bridge.
Yeah. And then he's just like,
So it's like basically like Mando's on top of the world right now.
yeah.
But then he's just like, psych, the dark troop. Well, I guess the dark troopers have been on already.
Yeah, he
'Cause it took him his full effort just to kill one.
Yeah.
Right, he
then
launched him into space.
airlocked
Airlocked him.
him.
But it turns out they can fly in space.
Turns out they're robots. They can live in space.
And then they just like jetpacked back onto the ship.
I'm glad they came back.
Friggin' dark troopers.
But anyway, then we realized that like Bo-Katan needed to like win the Darksaber in battle from Moff Gideon in order for it to mean anything.
Right.
I
So
guess,
it turns out Mando is the rightful owner of the dark saber.
and I guess the ruler of
Which-
Mandalore.
Well, I mean, first of all, there's not even a Mandalore to rule.
True.
And then it's so straight because then Moff Gideon's like, I'm so giddy right now because
Yeah.
he's like, Even by losing, I've beaten Bo-Katan.
I'm Moff Gideon.
So it's like, what are you going to do? Kill him for the Darksaber? And then it's so strange because then he's like, this is the thing that Jasmine was like, please explain this to me. So he's like, okay, let's have open combat. I yield. It's yours. He's like, I don't care about this.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that perfectly is acceptable.
Yeah.
It's like he yields in
Combat.
1 second combat
Yeah.
and it's now hers.
Okay, I yield.
Yeah. But then he's like, no, it's also about the legacy.
The story's what matters.
People are going to be like, no, Din defeated Moff Gideon. Bo-Katan was just there. It's like, tell the story however you want.
Yeah, who gives a rip?
So yeah, Jasmine's like, why doesn't that work? This seems like a good solution. And I'm like, oh, babe, it's the legacy.
It's the legacy, babe.
It's I don't know. This seems perfectly fine. I don't know.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is going to be a conflict to be resolved in
Conflict, yeah.
season 3.
Yes.
But yeah, so it's like these guys are pooched. They've got a whole squadron of dark troopers blasting down their
Now
door.
they're coming down. They're punching down the door.
And this is what I was so mad because I was on Instagram like an hour before
Oh no.
the episode. It's Friday. I was like, I don't know what we was waiting for. It's like we're gonna make dinner and then we're gonna watch The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And I'm scrolling through Instagram and I see one still
You
image
fool.
and I'm like,
You fool. What was
It's-
the image?
it's like a hooded figure
Green lightsaber.
with a green lightsaber, and I'm like, friggin' Luke, Jimothy Skywalker is in this episode.
That's right.
But it's like, I can't be sure. I immediately turned my phone off and I was like, I didn't see nothing.
You're like, huh? Who? Huh?
I was like, all I know is that a Jedi shows up in this episode.
Han Solo. ...
And I'm just like, could be Cal Kestis for all I know.
For all I know.
Could
Yeah.
be Ahsoka back with a green lightsaber. But then it was like, it's just like so nerdy because then the Dark Trooper, that's the other. And then I saw a YouTube video explaining this. Jasmine's like, how did the Dark Troopers know when Luke Skywalker boarded the ship? Because it's like he like boards the ship and then suddenly the troopers are all like, huh?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. They're connected to
They're
the ship's
connected
Wi-Fi.
to the Wi-Fi.
So it's like,
Obviously. They're connected to the network.
They're
Someone tripped the sensor. Someone just came in. Okay. Now, why would they perceive that he was such a threat? Maybe that's a bigger question. Because why wouldn't the other guys keep punching the door open?
Yeah, because that was the thing. They're like, so they sense an intruder, but they have to have, they're networked into the ship. They have to have some sort of like prioritization of tasks.
Yeah.
And for some reason, they're like, they're like, this is our only focus.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the YouTube, it was like Star Wars Theory, some big Star Wars YouTube channel was like, Moff Gideon programmed them to detect the Force. So when a Force user as powerful as Luke Skywalker was on the ship, they detected that.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's the type of apologetics I can get behind.
Yeah, I could buy that.
They're like, obviously this is the case. I'm like, of course.
Of course it is.
Because even Jasmine is like, why would they even notice that he's on the ship?
Yeah.
And I'm like, they know. They know someone just got on the ship. But then the thing that like was nerdy is it's like he gets off the elevator and you see the gloved hand, and just based off his fighting style, I was like, I've seen enough Battlefront to know that's how Luke Skywalker fights. I was like, I can see a Skywalker Form 5 lightsaber strike from a mile away.
A Form 5 lightsaber strike. I just remember him, it's like two hands kind of swinging back and forth. That's what I remember.
Nah, yeah. You're looking at classic Form 5 Skywalker style.
Which one is Form 5?
Which one is Form 5?
It's Form 5.
It's Form 5. It's not Form 3. Let's see. Let me try and see if I can do the breakdown for you.
Yeah.
Form 1 is like the training
So that's
form.
when you knew it was Luke Skywalker. It
From
wasn't the cloak. It wasn't the green lightsaber. It wasn't the lone X-wing.
I mean, those are all hints. I mean, the gloved hand.
Were you freaking out, by the way? I mean, I know you had been spoiled already. I didn't realize. I like when the.
Oh, it was worth freaking out.
I was like, oh. I was like, oh. It was one of those moments. For
Yeah,
me.
it's a freak out moment for sure.
Yeah.
Because I almost was like, I'm like, they would not put Luke Skywalker into a Disney Plus show.
I didn't.
But then
think
I was
so.
like, Johnny Fav and Dave Filoni,
They would. Yeah.
They brought back Boba. And so this is where, I mean, do you want to hear my breakdown of the forms, or can we pin in that?
Let's put a pin in that.
Okay, we don't need to talk about lightsaber forms. I'm sure some people would love to hear it.
I have some familiarity, but
yeah, so Luke Skywalker.
Luke Skywalker, you're freaking out. I was freaking. I was like,
We're all
no
freaking
way.
out.
No way. My Papa John's pizza on the thing. I'm just saying, no way. No. Wait. Now, I have some, and Theo has expressed his feelings about this. Did you think the score was kind of weird as Luke was like killing all the robots?
I'm not weird like that, you know. Like I'm noticing like his fighting style, but I'm not noticing the score.
Didn't we want like give me some binary sunset, you know?
Because this is the Mandalorian. It's not the Skywalker saga.
You know, under the chin, through the top of the head, bam, and then like he cuts the guy in half. So good. That action was good.
Yeah, I know they did lots of comparisons. Luke Skywalker's hallway scene, Darth Vader's hallway scene.
Yeah.
One terrifying. I mean, Luke Skywalker was kind of terrifying if you're a fan of those robots, which you shouldn't be.
yeah.
Those robots should have been scared, but they don't have emotion.
Yeah.
So that's good. I know a lot of people were like, the CGI is weird. And it's like, everyone's complaining when they CGI characters' faces. I'm like, just be happy. Be happy you got to see Mark Hamill. They could have like recasted him completely.
I think they should have. I think they should have had Sebastian Stan.
I think it's fine if like the show is not about Luke Skywalker. It's like Skywalker is making a cameo.
Yeah.
It's like, so if he's in there for showing his face for 30 seconds, put a Snapchat filter on it.
It's a Snapchat filter.
An advanced Snapchat filter. I'm not even sure it's better than Snapchat filter.
It's barely better than a Snapchat filter. There was someone who did a deep fake after the fact. And
I saw that.
It was 100 times better.
I couldn't tell the difference. I was like, these are the same. Same quality.
No. No. The deep fake was much more realistic, crisp. It just looked it was shocking to me that they didn't make it look better.
They didn't deep fake it.
Yeah.
It was nice. Mark Hamill threw in his voice.
And it's his voice, yeah. And I guess I don't know how they did. Can he just make his voice sound really young?
He's like an extremely talented voice actor.
You're right.
I'm sure if they're like, do your voice from when you were in your 20s, he's like, oh yeah, no problem.
That is true.
He's like,
Plus,
yeah, I don't talk that way anymore, but I can make myself sound that way.
Young, huh? Yeah, probably. Yeah. It was good. I did have this moment where I was like, man, that's a really good Luke. Whoever they got to do Luke's voice is very good.
Yeah.
Turns out it's Luke Skywalker they got to do.
Yeah, it's like the body double, but I was like, those are Mark Hamill's eyes. That's the one thing I was like, that's like, this right there is Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
The rest of it, I was like, I don't know, close enough. He's got his hair.
Yeah, listen, the hair, it really was close enough. I'm not complaining, but it does baffle me that
you think they could have done better. The
It's
fact
like-
that someone else did better the next day.
yeah, that's what's baffling. And even I thought Rogue One was better. I thought Rogue One did a better job.
Tarkin was kind of weird looking.
I thought
And he was the CGI that got the most screen time.
Carrie Fisher's was good.
It's 10 seconds of Carrie Fisher.
Hope.
Yeah. And they're like, she didn't look like it looked like CGI. I was like, because it is.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's great. So you get to see a young Carrie Fisher for 10 seconds.
Yeah, it was really good. And it's like, what a way to end a movie, by the way. Yeah. But,
so yeah, the controversy from the interwebs is everyone was like, this is the first time we've seen Luke Skywalker since Return of the Jedi. Because everyone considers Luke Skywalker in the sequels, they're like, that's not Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Even like Mark Hamill basically came out and said that.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know who this character is.
Yeah,
He's like, I get paid to portray this character in this movie. It's not my Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. And he came, Mark Hamill did this post that was like, it's the gift that you didn't know you wanted, sort of a thing. Like, thanks, John and Dave, for basically giving Luke a proper, it's the badass Luke we wanted to see. And
yeah, it's like,
it's exactly what we wanted, you know?
It's like, we remember, it's like Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi is just coming into his own. It's literally the return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And then it's like, after the fact, we know he becomes like a BA Jedi Master.
Yeah.
But there's no movies about that.
And then we
There's
skip all that. Let's jump ahead to where he's squeezing
everyone's
the teats of a friggin', the green milk
Yeah.
monster.
Everyone's like, Grogu, don't have any bad dreams.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you have a bad dream, Luke will kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really think...
Dude, you're so right. They just massacred Luke Skywalker in the sequels.
And it's all Rian Johnson's fault.
Rian Johnson.
You know what? Here's the...
They assassinated
Because they didn't
his
do
character,
anything
man.
to him. If you want to rank the sequel movies, I'm like, it goes 1, 2, 3. The Force Awakens is the best one, and they just get worse and worse after that.
I'd say 1, 3, 2. The sequels.
Really?
I think Force.
You think Rise of Skywalker is
yeah.
better than The Last Jedi? Remember the last time we watched The Last Jedi?
Jedi rips.
You're like, this movie rips.
Last Jedi rips. It really does.
I mean, they massacre Luke Skywalker. Mark Hamill plays this weird. It's like it's like if Luke Skywalker died peacefully, and some Sith Lord was using the Force to impersonate him.
Yeah.
And that's like who shows up, except that I don't know.
It's a weird body double. It's a weird body snatcher situation with the Luke of the sequels versus the Luke of the original trilogy. And Luke of the original trilogy is so sincere. He's so earnest. I mean, even Mark Hamill said, like, this character, this isn't what Luke would do, you know?
Yeah, he's so flippant, and which is like Rian Johnson subverting expectations. Yeah. It's like, you subverted our expectations for good quality writing, so congratulations.
You think the quality of Last Jedi is like good quality writing?
No, he subverted our expectations by not providing.
Oh, I see. Okay.
We expected something good, and he subverted it.
Right. I'm gonna give you
because subverting expectations is like his big.
Ugh.
He's got a big old hard on for subverting expectations.
Subverting your expectations.
And it's like, yeah, our expectations was that it'd be good.
Yeah, give us a good film. Give us like. Yeah, that's
so it was justification. So then they see like 3 minutes of Luke Skywalker, and they're like, oh yeah, this is Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
So it like reaffirms people who were like, the sequel Luke Skywalker is not Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
They're like, this guy was Luke Skywalker.
And you know what? There was something very cathartic and great about like seeing. I mean, all I ever wanted was that scene where he just chops up the robots and is just a badass Jedi. That's all we wanted. That's all that we wanted.
Yeah. Like it was like work for him. Like he had to put in the work to chop down an entire squadron of these dark troopers.
Yeah.
But he didn't he was never in danger.
No,
he was never going to lose.
He walked through these things that Mando could barely kill one of. That was such a brilliant thing too. To show how difficult one is with that scene was so great. And then Luke, and that it just shows like the power differential of like Luke Skywalker versus Mando versus, we get to see just how powerful Luke is.
And like Moff Gideon is freaking out because as one of the higher political leaders of the Empire.
Mhm.
He's well aware of like the one guy that brought down the whole Empire.
He knows Luke Skywalker.
He knows Luke Skywalker. He's read a dossier or two on Luke Skywalker.
He's seen pictures of Luke Skywalker in the space files.
He's seen him on those Imperial terminals.
Yeah. He's seen searching for these ne'er-do-wells.
Yeah. So Moff Gideon's just terrified. Luke Skywalker's on his way.
Yeah. So let's talk about...
And then he just takes Baby Yoda.
Now, here's the thing. As I was talking with Theo about the score is it's not quite, in terms of like musical theory, there's, you can set up a melody, but at the end of a melody, it must resolve if it wants to.
Oh, I know all about resolving melodies.
If it wants to sound good, if relieve the audience of like, it's like a story, you have to resolve the tension of the melody. Luke introduces tension in his score. There's a lot of tension there. It's an interesting choice, but I like that. It's like you realize that, like, oh, it's not quite about, the story isn't about Luke Skywalker. He's sort of tertiary to the story here. He's incidental. The story is about...
Well, he is like Deus. How do you...
He's Deus
Ex Machina.
Yeah, he's the Eagles.
Yeah.
He's the Eagles coming in. So he comes and saves the day, but really what it's about is Mando and the child, and that's when the score does resolve, is when he finally takes his helmet off. He shows his face to Baby Yoda. They have
I had to be so tough. I had to be like, oh yeah, I'd be like, show him your face, Mando.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I almost cried just describing it and like acting like you can't see it, but I'm holding a little baby Yoda right now, a little Grogu. Yeah. And then he touches his face.
I know. They've been teasing it. He always like peeks.
Yeah.
Mando's taking a sip of something and Grogu's like, what's up there?
He wants to see, yeah. And then
Can't he see his face with the Force though?
No, he's not trained. He can barely
I don't know. He's been trained. That's the other thing.
Yeah, how trained is he?
When Ahsoka's like, yeah, he actually used to live on Coruscant at the Jedi Temple. He was one of the younglings. That's where all the memes of like Anakin Skywalker being like, don't come in tomorrow, Grogu. You were one of the good ones.
Yeah.
So it's like, and there's like, he escaped the Jedi Temple. I was like, how?
He can barely move.
He's a 50-year-old infant.
Yeah. He's a baby.
Have you seen him waddle?
Yeah.
He does not move around fast. But I guess he's easy to transport.
Yes, that is true.
So he was one of the younglings. And he was at the Jedi Temple getting as instructed as you can instruct a 50-year-old baby.
Yeah. Yeah, so it resolves. We have that, and then the show ends with Luke walking away with Baby Yoda and Art. It's great to see R2.
Oh yeah,
love that.
It's like there's our boy. He was just kind of hanging back.
Yeah,
he's just like, these guys are a little too tough for me.
Yeah, I better come in after the fact.
No, he was plugging into the console to open the door.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
He's like, I wasn't even going to get off the X-wing, but there was a big commotion.
I would have loved if like.
And he's also like, my little jetpacks on my legs have been destroyed for some reason.
Yeah, that's a prequel thing.
Or else I would have jetpacked over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would make no sense. It's like, how did C-3PO even get on the X-wing?
Hello, human-cyborg relations. And then like Han
is like, I'm here to facilitate this transfer.
Han is like, hey, come on, we're gotta get going. Gotta smuggle some stuff. I haven't grown at all.
It's like, I still like to smuggle every now and then.
I'm back to smuggling.
Yeah, they bring it. What's his name? The young. Well, I mean, it wouldn't make sense, but just some terribly CGI'd Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford wouldn't even give his permission for that at this point.
And then
they'd be like, we want to use your likeness for Star Wars. He'd be like, no.
Only Indiana Jones. Did Do you know that Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is a prequel to Raiders of the Lost Ark?
I did know that.
Everyone knew this. I did not know this till yesterday.
They're actually quite clear about it at the beginning of. Well, I mean,
What do you
maybe
mean
if
they're
you
actually quite clear?
well, they put the year. They put the year at like, because like in the very first scene, it'll be like India 19 blah blah blah.
I guess so.
So I mean, I guess if you're watching them back and forth, you're like Temple of Doom. You're like, oh yeah, this is actually the first one.
Maybe I should watch them in that order. Anyway, back to Star Wars.
Back to watch him in no. Indiana Jones was meant to be in that order. There's a reason for it. Temple of Doom sets you up for the Last Crusade.
How so?
I don't remember how exactly. It's important that you see Indiana Jones, and then you actually see how he was in the past. Actually, I don't think it matters because each film is
Kinda
basically
standalone.
yeah.
Yeah.
There isn't much character development there. I take back what I said. Back to Star Wars.
Also, here's another fun fact for Last Crusade. You know, in the beginning when he's fighting, young Indy is fighting the guy in the fedora who basically he models his look after the guy. Originally, that guy was going to be Miriam's father, Ravenwood. That guy.
Oh.
He was supposed to be Ravenwood, who was like his old mentor. So like they should have kept that. Anyway. Where were we?
So Luke takes the Grogu's.
We're kind of at the end.
And he's
yeah.
like, he needs your permission. Because I'm like, I can also talk to him through the Force. Because he's a baby. And
he
doesn't-
wants your permission. Yeah, the way so Luke. Yeah, I love that. They had a little scene, and it's great.
takes his helmet off. And so now he's not some freaky FLDS Mandalorian.
Yeah.
He's like a normal, well-adjusted Mandalorian. So now here's the thing, though.
The de-radicalization of Mando.
It's like, how about a spin-off? Everyone wants to see a spin-off show of Luke creating the new Jedi Order.
Yes, please.
Everyone wants that. I want to see a teenage Kylo Ren.
I do too.
You know, so that is that's what
Adventures
everyone
of
wants to
young
see. But you
Kylo.
can't. They can't make that. That's
Why not?
how would they? CGI Luke Skywalker the whole time?
No,
They're gonna
you cast Sebastian Stan as young Luke.
Just a complete recast.
Just commit.
It's too late to commit to that. They've already like done the de-aged.
Luke.
Oh yeah, I don't know the other theory. In Rise of Skywalker, when Luke gets distracted with his training session with Leia, there's that scene where it's both CGI Luke and CGI Leia. What do you think distracted him? Grogu's message.
Oh. Or any number of things.
But I love that. They're like, no, that flashback scene was Luke receiving a Force transmission from Grogu. And I'm like, love it. I accept it. It's
sure.
canon.
Why not?
Can't see a reason.
Throw it in.
It is fact. So yeah, and so here's the thing, because it's basically they're like, yeah, the show's called The Mandalorian, not Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
Baby Yoda is not the title character.
No.
So they've delivered him off to Luke. I don't think we see him ever again.
Grogu.
Yeah.
Well, they say we'll see them. You have to see Grogu again.
Yeah, but
You're
I mean,
gonna-
they
you'll-
even
you'll see
had,
him
I don't
again.
remember, I think the Mayfield episode, you don't even see Baby Yoda.
True.
I mean, of course, they're trying to rescue him.
There.
But it's like,
He's a great MacGuffin.
yeah, he's the cutest MacGuffin.
He's the cutest MacGuffin.
Aren't you the cutest little MacGuffin? Sorry, I just tossed him. Just dropped him by the head.
Careful with Grogu.
So it's like, yeah, it's like season 3. It's like the story is going to change to where it's almost like he's going to get involved. Now that he's become like a normalized Mandalorian,
Yeah.
it's now the conflict is like the rise of Mandalore. Is he going to become the leader of Mandalore?
Could be.
Is Bo-Katan going to allow that? Are they going to rule together? I know one person was like, easy solution, just get married. Get married and rule Mandalore together.
I would love it.
So there's that, and it's kind of like, well, his mission with Baby Yoda is resolved. He's delivered Baby Yoda to Luke Skywalker and his little Jedi school.
Yeah.
Would I like to see a TV show about Luke Skywalker and the new Jedi Order? Yes.
Yes, of course. Speaking of like upcoming shows, though.
Well, first and foremost, that didn't make the Disney investor meeting that Jon Favreau's like, we'll save that for a little sneak at the end, was the after credit scene.
The Boba Fett.
Boba Fett goes back to Jabba's palace.
How interested are you in that?
I am interested.
I'm mildly interested.
Well, we can rank every single project they have going by how
Yeah.
interesting it is. I thought it was fun, so I don't remember the character's name. Jabba's counselor guy. What's the consigliere?
Yeah.
I forget his name, but
Theo would know.
Theo would know. But it's fun. They got the same. It was interesting to me in the gallery. It's the same actor that played him in Phantom Menace. And he's actually a sound engineer that works at Lucasfilm.
Yeah, what is his name?
So he's not actually like an actor, but they just like had him play the character in Phantom Menace because he was on screen for like 3 seconds
Yeah, I don't remember.
to like tap Jabba's dad,
Name
Joba the Hutt or whatever his name
of
is.
Jabba's sidekick.
Yeah.
No, that's Salacious Crumb.
Not Salacious Crumb.
not
I'd
Salacious
like to
Crumb.
see a spin-off show of Salacious.
Salacious Crumb. Mike Mitchell does a good Salacious Crumb.
Mike Mitchell is Salacious Crumb. Mike Mitchell is salacious.
Salacious and a crumb. Not his sidekick.
But anyways, yeah, his like little counselor assistant guy.
assistant.
So
yeah.
apparently, I'm not sure how this works, and they kind of discuss this in the gallery where it's like
Bib Fortuna.
Bib Fortuna. And the other fun fact that they talked about, he has a staff.
Mm-hmm.
And just like they always do in The Mandalorian, like that transport carrier,
Mm-hmm.
the Bib Fortuna with his staff was never seen in film, but his action figure had that staff.
Oh.
So they did a replica of his action figure staff for the show. But he's become obese.
He's gained some weight.
By galactic medical standards, he's morbidly obese now, which is it's interesting because like the Hutts are like these big fat slugs,
Mm-hmm.
but that's like how Hutts are supposed to be.
Yeah, for baseline weight, they're doing okay.
Jabba was a trim Hutt.
He was a thin, sexy ass Hut.
by every standard, by every Hutt standard.
Leia was lucky to lay on his flab
His
rolls.
Girthy,
His girthy.
his Chumbawamba.
His-
But anyways, it's a symbol of like, Jabba gets killed and he like takes over his criminal organization.
The Wanawanga. Sorry.
And so the gluttony of it all.
Yeah.
But then like Boba Fett's like,
Get off.
nay,
Yeah.
I run this town now.
Wouldn't it be funny if like the next time we saw Boba Fett, he too was morbidly obese?
I know people were freaking out. They're like, he's pretty chubby
He's chunky.
because he like put the armor on top of his robes.
Yeah.
So they're like, is Boba Fett like out of shape?
Boba Fett.
Yeah. Then they're like, no, it was just the robes. And then when he's wearing his armor without the robes, he's all trim. And Tamira is a real fit, trim guy.
Is he?
Yeah.
He was.
Oh no, I watched the gallery. He's wearing a real tight black T-shirt, doing his haka.
Okay.
He's looking good.
Okay.
He's in fighting shape.
Good.
So yeah, then it's like Fennec and Mr. Fett. He's in Jabba's palace, which they took a lot of work to recreate.
It looks good.
They said it was a crack for crack remake because they're like, people will notice this. And I was like, okay.
I
So
loved it.
yeah,
All
so
Star
the
Wars.
Book of Boba Fett. That's the next show. Well, that one's coming out December of. We can now say this year. So we'll see the book of Boba Fett in 12 months.
I'm excited already.
But what's coming out before that?
I'm just trying to find a big list of it. All right, so we got
Because you said you're not typically interested in that.
in the book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
I just don't know what's gonna happen. I just don't know who.
We already know he's like a real, kick butt kind of guy.
Yeah,
He's got his sidekick Fennec.
not interesting, but okay.
But
She's good.
She's there, and she's
The role they played in Mandalorian, love it. It's
Yeah.
like the Hulk in the Marvel movies, you know?
You don't want to watch a Hulk film, but you love him.
We've tried it a few times, but he's better as just like a heavy. He's a heavy in a bigger story.
He plays the tank role.
Yeah.
If we're using video game analogies.
Yeah,
Likes
so-
to tank that damage.
Yeah. So I just don't know what.
I
As a main character, I just don't know.
think he's got the charisma for it. And it's true because it's like, okay, so he's taken over
I don't want to see a prequel.
the criminal underworld of Tatooine.
And
Isn't he kind of supposed to be a good guy? Is he there to clean it up?
Here's the thing. It's like if we had a movie about about Jabba the Hutt. What would that movie be? It would be like a Godfather. Actually,
Yeah.
wasn't this someone's idea once? Where they have Jabba the Hutt, but it's like a Godfather's type story.
It's all like the crime families and the Hutt clans.
yeah. And if that's what they turned this into, that could be interesting.
Well, they did that. Remember, the Clone Wars started out with a movie,
yeah.
and it's literally like rescuing.
You're right, yeah.
It wasn't
His son.
rescuing Jabba,
His son,
but not. Was it even Jabba?
his nephew or something, some family member.
Yeah, and one guy was like a very one of the Hutts was
Fredo.
Yeah, very stereotypical Godfather character. It was a little.
That's right.
obnoxious.
It was. It was very.
I mean,
on
besides
the
like that
nose.
movie was not very well done.
Yeah.
A lot of people forget that was the beginning of the Clone Wars series. They like to forget that,
Yeah.
but
That's right.
they have taken that angle before, is what I'm saying.
That's right. Maybe that's where I'm getting this idea from. They already did it.
He had like a feather in his. Oh my gosh.
It was rough. So I just don't know what they're gonna do with this book of Boba Fett. Mando is a great character
Well,
because he's on a quest. He's
Yeah.
not quite fulfilled yet.
Right.
Boba Fett seems to be this fully realized character. I don't know what sort of growth he's going to go through, if anything.
I don't know how fully realized he is, but
Do we get flashbacks? Do we get like
I mean,
Boba
so
Fett?
he's on Tatooine. So who are we gonna see? We'll probably run into Amy Sedaris again. We'll run into the Marshal again. Cobb Van or whatever. Cobb Vance.
Cobb Vance. Yeah.
Vant? Is it Vance? Like Vance Refrigeration?
Yeah, Vance.
Okay.
Bob Vance. Vance.
Cobb Vance. It's very close to Bob Vance.
That's one letter off. Whatever. It's all good.
Okay.
Cobb. Let's
So
call him
it's
Cobb.
like, oh, we're gonna be on Tatooine. Neat.
Yes.
So it's like,
Listen, if
there's gonna be a pod racing episode where like,
okay, I'm in. I'm already in.
so it's like, characters can show up again. Mando could show up again. Like that's the whole thing of a spin-off. They're doing like the Marvel universe
cinematic
thing.
universe. If they turn it into the nitty-gritty of running the Hutt Empire,
Like the political intrigue.
yeah, if they turn it into that, I could be down for that. I just don't.
It's Disney. They're not going to do that.
Yeah, it's gonna be adventures, and that's
He's
what
going to get another Rancor.
It's like I just don't know what it's like a side. It's gonna be a whole series that's a side quest.
I think you're going to be surprised
I hope I am.
because I think I understand where you're like, why?
Why are we doing?
It's like you're watching Bond.
It's my
and
Bond. Why? But why? Yeah, I mean,
it's true. I could understand it as an after credit scene to kind of
and that's it.
to wrap it up to be like,
Yeah,
Boba goes back to Tatooine
yeah.
and takes over.
Rules the Hutts now. It's not the Hutts anymore.
takes
it's
over
the
Jabba's
Fetts.
palace.
The Fetts.
Yeah.
And let's be real, the palace was
Well, actually,
pretty.
isn't it the Hutts? How come Jabba didn't get replaced by another Hutt? Like, that's the whole thing. The Hutts are like a crime family, like
Yeah.
the mafia.
Yeah.
You know what'll probably answer that question?
In the Book of Fett.
The Book of...
Boba Fett.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I think it's better than a spin-off show with Cara Dune and... What is... Isn't, like, Carl Weathers' character, his name is, like, Goof or something.
I don't know.
His character's name, it's like Groff.
Groff. I like Groff. Groff is a fine name.
But yeah, so if we're going to talk about shows I could give a rip about, Rangers of the New Republic.
Yeah, let's go through them. I got a list right here.
Okay.
Mandalorian Season 3. We're very excited for it.
Yeah.
Christmas 2020.
A little sad.
It says Christmas 2021. It's this year. Season
No.
3. Yeah, it says right here. It's right here on Collider.
That's a lie. They mean 22. I heard September 2022 for season 3.
Okay, we'll see. Season 3 will
Book
follow.
of Mr. Fett.
Will be released at Christmas 2021.
Yeah, they're not releasing them at the same time. Your sources are bad.
I have a source in front of me. You got your brain you're using, right?
And I'm telling my brain is better than Collider.
Okay, well, we'll see.
They got their release times bad.
We'll see.
So there's that.
Andor. Cassian Andor's series.
That was actually, I was thinking about that. I was like, who even gives a rip about Cassian Andor show?
I do.
And then I watched Rogue One with my wife to kind of get me hyped up maybe for it. And because she hadn't even seen Rogue One, and it's probably the best Disney Star Wars film.
Yes.
And I was like, you know what? Cassian Andor? Cool guy.
And I saw, like, whatever the sizzle reel is for it, they're like, we're treating this like a film. Like, it's a full film.
Well, that's how they've been treating, like, Mandalorian, too.
Yeah. But it seems like even maybe more so. Like, they're going all out for it.
Like, are they doing it? They must be, because speaking of, what am I trying to say? We're on, like, hour 3 and I can't talk. Limited series. Because, like, obviously we'll get to Obi-Wan. And that's just, like, 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Like, there's no season 1, I mean, you can't with a character like Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
He's got so much.
He's got some bookends on him.
He's got bookends. And you can't bleed into too many eras because he's already, like, in this and in that.
Yeah.
So you kind of have, like, this short time frame to work with.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's nice. It's like it's basically like a 6-hour-long movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that. It's like the Queen's Gambit on Netflix. It's like limited series. It's like, here is 10 episodes. There's a beginning and an end.
Yeah.
There's no Queen's Gambit season 2.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I
here's
like
a complete story.
Yeah.
It's basically a 10-hour movie.
Love it. And I think that's what this is going to be.
Big fan of that. So I assume,
Andor thing.
Because once again, Cassian Andor, he's got a beginning and an end. He's got...
Yeah, he's got a definite end, and we're going to see some backstory.
And and in Rogue One, they talk about, like, the backstory. Like, he's like a rebel spy.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like Mayfield. It's like, I've done things I'm not proud of for the rebellion.
Yeah.
It's like, show me those things.
Show me those dirty things you've done for the rebellion. Show me those space ladies you've seduced for the rebellion.
Yeah, it's just like a campy Bond film.
Yeah, Andor. Cassian Andor.
It's like, give me that blue milk. Shaken, not stirred.
So in 2 years from now, 2022, we're going to be getting... Oh, and that one's coming out 2022 also.
Andor,
yeah.
Haven't they been filming that for, like, years? What's the holdup?
They're filming it. I don't know.
So then is Obi-Wan the next one?
Obi-Wan's, it says 2022 also. Ewan McGregor.
Because I know they had to do, like, 1,000 rewrites.
Yeah. For this one. Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, they...
Coming back.
They... I don't know. I don't know if this is a theory or they kind of leaked it, that there is going to be a massive Obi-Wan Darth Vader
rematch.
battle.
Yeah.
Rematch.
Yeah.
The one that you wanted to see in A New Hope.
Yeah.
the one that you're like, wait, so was Obi-Wan really just like a desert hermit? If you watch that in 1977, you're like, this guy ain't nothing.
Yeah.
Like some weird pacifist.
Yeah.
But I mean, like when you get the whole story, you're like, yeah, it makes sense. But it's
You know what I still kind of don't understand? Why does Obi-Wan just yield to Darth Vader and just let himself get killed in
'Cause-
front of Luke?
I'm not. Well, I think he's strangely old. And I know when you look at like the time frame of stuff, like you look at Bo-Katan and you're like, she hasn't aged at all. And then you look at like Boba Fett, and it's like that one kind of makes sense because it's like the Mandalorian is it 4 years after Return of the Jedi?
Something like that.
It's like it's just like several years after Return of the Jedi, and it's just like he's looking rough for only. But I mean, he's wearing a mask, and he had to crawl out of a Sarlacc pit.
Yeah.
And but it's just like, wait a second. It's like Obi-Wan. Yeah, all the people that were on Tatooine, where it's just like you have Revenge of the Sith. Obi-Wan is a young fella, not young, middle-aged, not even middle-aged.
He's 30s.
He's in his 30s.
Yeah.
And then he spends 19 years on Tatooine, and
And then looks like a 75-year-old.
looks like he's 70. And it's like those 19 years were really like 40.
In the Tatooine suns, double the UV rays.
Yeah.
So come on, give him a break.
He went from in his 30s to in his 70s.
30s to 70s in 20 years.
And Darth Vader, kind of the same.
Yeah. You went from 30 to
In
100 in 10 seconds.
Because, it's like these Darth Vader comics. There's like, between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, there's 19 years.
Yeah.
And it's like, what did Darth Vader get up to in case of like, Jedi Fallen Order?
Yeah.
He makes a brief appearance and he's like, ah.
Yeah.
But it's like he aged. I mean, I guess, he was burnt to a crisp and all chopped up. But his suit and his little Bacta tank treatments were like not helping him out that much.
No. I hope they show. This is what I'm most excited about, this Obi-Wan series. I hope that they really tap into, like, at the very end of Clone Wars, they show Darth Vader going up to basically the last shit, like where the ship landed, and what's her name? Ahsoka sort of put a little graveyard for all the soldiers there. And then later you see Vader come to that same spot, has this like introspective moment.
He sees the owl thing.
He's like, he remembers her. I hope we tap into that Vader. The introspective, the what have I done Vader.
Because he's still kind of young.
Yeah.
He's still
young. He's a young man.
And if you remember from the Vader comics, in the very beginning, he's still plotting against Palpatine.
Yeah.
He's just like, this guy has wronged me.
Yeah.
And I must find a way to destroy him. But also at the same time, I must obey all his commands and do very terrible things.
Yeah. He's a conflicted man.
Yeah. So and I mean, you see that, he battles Ahsoka in Rebels, like she's tangled with him before.
Yeah.
And, it's like his mask breaks and she can see his eye and it's
all red.
Yeah. And it's like this old looking Hayden Christensen kind of guy. Yeah. Actually, here's a fun thing. Here's a fun fact for you.
Okay.
I started reading this Thrawn book, and there's like prologues.
Yeah.
The whole shtick so far is that Thrawn and Vader have to work together. Palpatine forces them to work together on something, and they're like, "No, I don't like this guy."
Yeah.
But there's like a prologue scene of Anakin and Padme.
Okay.
And while I'm reading the book, who do you think I'm picturing? What image is in my head?
Hayden Christensen and the
animated,
the Clone Wars, yeah.
The animated versions pop into my head, and I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Because to me, the Clone Wars Anakin is the best Anakin.
He's the best Anakin for sure.
But then, and I got conflicted because the Clone Wars Padme is weird looking. So I'm like,
she's
how do I read this book? Well, I picture an animated Anakin and Natalie Portman. And then my brain got conflicted because it's like trying to pick the best version of these characters as I read this book in my head. That was just my fun little fact.
Dude, I hope they I hope there's a flashback to the Clone Wars, live action Clone Wars. That's what I want to see.
It's called Attack of the Clones. One of the best Star Wars films. Anyways, so
next up is Ahsoka, the series.
oh yeah, obviously, who's not hyped for that?
Be good.
Anyone who's a Clone Wars or a Rebels fan, they're like, Ahsoka hunting after Thrawn? Cool. Yes, please.
Yeah. So we're excited for this.
And I think Miss Dawson,
She did a good job.
she does a good job.
She does a really good job. And she's got like the lips. She's got the face of Ahsoka. I'll be honest. Like she looks like Ahsoka.
And she had, she's like an action star.
Yeah.
She's used to the action.
She's got the chops. And the costume is not too encumbering. I was kind of worried that like it would just be like this really, when like a costume wears the actor. But I think she does a good job. I think she looks like Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah.
Next up is Star Wars Rangers of the New Republic.
Ugh. Is like Dave Filoni going to be like a main cast? It's just like, ugh.
The second live-action Mandalorian spinoff to be announced is Star Wars Rangers of the New Republic, set within the timeline of The Mandalorian.
Because it's going to be like the Kim's Convenience guy.
Oh, that's who it is?
Yeah.
Oh,
like the Rangers of the New Republic are like those guys rolling around in their X-Wings.
That's kind of dumb. Will I watch every episode?
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah, so basically I'm not super looking forward to that. Like they'll probably like run into Cara Dune again.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is interesting because it's like we have no idea about the New Republic.
Yeah.
The only thing we see is when the New Republic gets blown up by Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
It's like, well, after the fall of the Empire, there was a New Republic.
Yeah. And now it's gone again.
And a new Death Star destroys it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Okay.
So I guess it's kind of like, oh, I can't wait to see some more of the inner workings of the New Republic. But once again, bookends. It's like we know eventually it all gets blown up.
It's going to be like a cops sort of a show, it says. Anyway, Star Wars The Bad Batch.
Just a spin-off of the Clone Wars.
I'm kind of excited about this, actually.
Like, were the Bad Batch episodes my favorite? No.
Yeah.
But
is it something I asked for? Not at all.
Is it something I'm going to watch every episode of?
Yes.
Yeah. With delight.
With delight and glee. Okay. The Acolyte. Oh, this is... I don't know what this is. The Acolyte. Star Wars The
I do remember
Acolyte.
they said it's going to be like an all-female cast because the Force is female.
Okay. Described as a mystery thriller... The Acolyte will be led by a female character. I don't think it's going to be all female cast.
That's what I was promised.
It'll be
They're
led
like, you
by
won't see a man. The only men you see will be getting
a trans
sliced.
man. It'll be a trans man, which is a woman. But it'll be no man. Yeah.
No men allowed. We'll bring back that droid from the Solo film.
Yeah.
The feminist droid.
We'll show Han Solo having sex with the Millennium Falcon. Just denigrate all men. Men suck. The only men in the show will be in the first 5 minutes. Will be 10 men getting beheaded by women, and then they'll look into the camera and say, "You wouldn't see the other guy get into this."
Okay, now is that the one that takes place during the High Republic?
Yeah,
or is that
the final days of the High Republic. You're doing a good job. The final days of the High Republic story takes viewers into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers. I'm in. Now see in this it shows like it looks like a lightsaber streak across it. I'm thinking it's a Sith. We're gonna dive into the Sith. I'm thinking maybe what if it's like a
you got
Asajj Ventress sort of character.
Well, I think it's too far back. The only
Not Asajj Ventress,
but that kind of
but a sort of that sort of a thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever.
And they want to introduce this High Republic era because that's where the next trilogy is.
I think the comics wise, I think they're going there.
They've already done like a High Republic book, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where they're going for. I don't know if it's the movie. Did they announce the new trilogy? I thought they announced the new trilogy in the High Republic, but then there's that guy getting his own standalone.
Right. Well,
I don't know.
Well, this isn't the complete list, actually. Hold on. Movies and TV. Okay, here we go.
Turns out my brain is better than your source.
No. Let's see. Okay, we got The Bad Batch, Book of Boba Fett. Oh, you're right. Okay, so Book of Boba Fett is December 2021. I think that was an old article. Oh, you're right. The Mandalorian Season 3 to be announced. So we're not sure when Season 3 is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Wait. Lucasfilm also announced that Season 3 of The Mandalorian will go into production next year. So this year.
Because they have to film it after they're done filming the book. Because they only have one studio for this.
Yeah, that's right. And they got to check for COVID every day. So you're right. So it's unsure. Ahsoka also uncertain when that's coming out. Rangers of the New Republic to be announced. Andor 2022. That's what they're saying here.
This is taking too long.
Obi-Wan.
Wasn't the Bad Batch like almost ready to go?
I think it's probably. Let's look at that.
That's got to be 2021.
I think it's early this year. It was the first thing. Yeah. Let's see. The show will pick up after the events of that series as Clone Force 99 finds their way through a rapidly changing galaxy. When does it come out? Doesn't say. I think it's early this year.
Yeah, because
I think it's done. I think it's in the can. I think they're
because Bad Batch would be post Revenge of the Sith.
It's gonna be post
because they're gonna be seeing the transition from clone troopers to stormtroopers.
Yeah, that's right.
So that'd be interesting.
Okay, the Acolyte. Acolyte, I'm moderately interested in.
It's so mysterious.
I don't know what it is. I'm curious.
A mystery thriller.
Now, Rogue Squadron is a Patty Jenkins movie that will be basically a Top Gun in the Star Wars universe.
Oh yeah, Rogue Squadron.
I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm a little worried because
wait, isn't Rogue Squadron the name of the game they just made?
It's a video game, yeah.
And it's like a game I would never play, but I appreciate that they made a Star Wars game.
Yeah. I am a little worried because the Wonder Woman 84 was apparently terrible. It's just a terrible, terrible movie. So
this is the director of that?
Yeah, same director.
Well, that's not promising.
But the first Wonder Woman was really good.
Same director?
Yeah, same. Patty Jenkins. Now this is what I'm most excited for movie-wise. The Untitled Taika Waititi movie.
Oh, that's got to be good.
When it was first reported Taika Waititi had been tapped to direct his own Star Wars movie, he reacted with this Jedi mind trick. Listen, what does approached even mean? He told ET about Star Wars. I've seen Star Wars. That's about as far as it got. So I don't know what he's getting at there.
That they've approached him to write and direct it. And he's like, what does that even mean? It's like, well, you've already directed episodes of The Mandalorian and you voice acted in The Mandalorian. You're in bed with the Star Wars bunch.
Yeah, so he's going to be...
And he directed that one good Thor movie.
Yeah, the one good Thor movie. So we know it's going to be funny, right? It's going to be a funny Star Wars.
It's going to be light and action-filled.
Yeah, it's going to be... It looks like it's made of stone, the Star Wars. So it's like a cartoon. It doesn't have it here, but the logo for his Star Wars movie is it looks like a Schoolhouse Rock sort of logo. It's like a weird logo, but I'm excited to see what happens. Lando.
Oh yeah, they're just bringing back Donald Glover.
I guess so. I'm less excited about this for some reason.
Yeah, because I think people are like, "Oh, are we gonna see what's her name, Kira? What's her name,
Emilia Clarke.
Amelia Clark.
Yeah.
Maybe she shows up because, like, in the movie, they already knew each other. Like, they'd had dealings with each other.
Yeah.
So maybe it's like, it's like I don't know.
Whatever. I don't know.
Is it going to be like after the events of Solo, where it's like Lando on Cloud City?
Maybe it's
building.
How does he get there? We don't know.
I don't know. It's like it's a character people love, and it's like, why don't we tell everyone what they were up to when in between movies or in a movie you didn't see him in?
Dude,
they were obviously doing something.
This list is crazy. Okay, so Star Wars Visions.
Was that an animated
It's
one?
It's going to be CG. It's canon beyond CG animations with Visions. Collection of 10 short films celebrating the galaxy through the lens of the world's best anime creators and offering a fresh, diverse cultural perspective to Star Wars. Okay, whatever.
It's going to be like Japanese animation.
Japanese animation, yeah.
Okay.
Sick. I'm down. A Droid Story.
George Lucas is so happy.
Lucasfilm Animation will team up with Industrial Lights and Magic to create a new adventure for R2-D2 and C-3PO, hybrid of animation, visual effects. Epic Journey will introduce a hero to a guided along the droid to a mission. I don't know about that one.
Okay, that one is now the least.
Least interesting.
Least interesting.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, okay. The Untitled Rian Johnson trilogy.
I thought they canceled that.
I think it might be honestly canceled.
If they're gonna give Rian Johnson a trilogy, forget it.
See, it even says here, before The Last Jedi even hit theaters, Lucasfilm tapped Rian Johnson for not one, not two, but 3 more films.
Why?
Announcing that the director.
What did they see that made them think like, oh yeah, this guy needs to be in charge of an entire trilogy?
I think. Well, it's. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not sure they're even going to mention the. I think the Game of Thrones guys. Theirs did get canceled. I think their trilogy. I think this is probably.
I think they canceled it. I think they said they wouldn't do it.
They said that. I think it was a push out just to save face. That's what I'm thinking. And then the Kevin Feige, the Marvel man himself, is going to produce a movie? Direct a movie? Now the Uber producer and head of Marvel Studios will make his way to the galaxy far forward to develop a new film alongside Kennedy. Knowing what a diehard fan Kevin is, it made sense for these two extraordinary producers to work on a Star Wars film together. Cool. He makes good movies. I don't know. Untitled J.D. Dillard movie. I don't even know who that is. Never mind. That's pretty much it. That's everything we got.
It's a lot more than we had in our last episode.
That is for sure. So it seems like a bunch of little things. This Lando thing is a bit of a surprise. I didn't realize that was getting made. I'm excited for the Taika Waititi movie. Cautiously optimistic about Rogue Squadron. The Acolyte. We'll see. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. Obi-Wan. Yes. Or
inject those 6 hours. I hope it's 6 hours.
Yeah.
Inject those 6 hours of Obi-Wan right into my veins, please.
Yeah. Or I'm gonna watch that for sure. Rangers of the New Republic. We'll see.
I mean, if I get some time, I'll watch it.
Ahsoka, gonna watch that for sure. Boba Fett, I guess I'll watch it because there's not gonna be anything else on next winter.
It's like the only thing scheduled for 2021.
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't checked the old laptop in 90 minutes. Hasn't been recording.
Is this? We're in the 4th hour, so we're 3 hours. What? Is that true? 3 hours and 22 minutes?
That can't be right.
The 4th? This means we're in the 4th hour. We're 23 minutes into the 4th hour. All right, we better wrap this up. Let's wrap this up, Lyndon. We got some good Star Wars talk. We covered it all.
Got all caught up on COVID Christmas, pandemic updates.
Hey, what about this? How about for the new year? Have you got any goals or anything? Maybe we can close off on that.
Let's see. As I mentioned previously, as I told everyone my practicum schedule, I don't have anything to do in February.
Oh.
And my goal is to get in good enough shape to go skiing in February.
Ooh.
See, the thing I've learned as I've gotten older and softer, especially since I haven't played basketball in like a year, is my athleticism, and they closed the gyms.
Yeah.
My athleticism might be at an all-time low. It might be.
Could be.
It's definitely bottom tier.
It's latent. It's in there.
So the athleticism is definitely down.
Gotta wake it up.
And skiing, if you don't know, is a very physically taxing exercise. You know, like a lot of things, it's like you can be super fit and be like really good at jogging or running.
Yeah.
And you can just run like a long time. But even if you're like really out of shape, you can still go running.
Yeah.
You just don't do it as fast and you don't go as far, but you can still do it.
Yeah.
You know, even like basketball, it's like, oh, you're not in very good shape anymore. Okay, well, you just can't go as fast or go as long, but you can still play. Skiing is like, there is no room for...
You're going regardless.
Yeah, it's like you either are in shape enough to do it or you're not.
Yeah.
And with lift tickets being like $100,
Too much.
it's like you better be in good enough shape to ski and ski all day if you're going to spend that kind of money.
Yeah.
So that is one goal.
Okay.
Is I would like to get in ski shape so I can go skiing in February.
Okay. Good goal. I like the goal.
That's one goal. Obviously, I have a goal of becoming gainfully employed.
Good goal.
No, you know, hardly a goal. It's just an expectation. I've got babies to pay for.
You got a baby?
Babies to pay for in the future.
Someday.
In the future.
Very good. Very good.
So there's that. I had a goal of being more involved with hobbies. I remember we talked about that.
Yeah.
So now I've got a trap launcher. Have some more activity time.
Yeah.
And that's something you can do during a pandemic, which apparently isn't going away this year.
Yeah. Unfortunately. No, if they release movies in a theater, I'll go to the see. I mean, I've had COVID, so like whatever.
Well, you know, you can get reinfected. Wasn't that bad the first time.
It's a cold. It's like saying if you go out to the theater, you could get the flu. And for me, it is a flu.
Well,
I know not for everyone, but for me, it is a flu.
The moral responsibility we have is not to avoid getting COVID. It's to avoid giving it to immunocompromised people.
Hey, how about this? How about all the people who don't want to get it? How about they stay inside and the rest of us can go watch movies and stuff? Or maybe that's what we should have been doing this whole time.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe our families all should have got together for Christmas.
Keep the people who are at risk safe, yes. The rest of us, let us go to the gym.
Yeah.
Let us eat at restaurants.
I lost all my gains.
My gains are gone. Yeah, I started working out again the last 2 days. It's difficult. It's very difficult. Yeah, goals. I guess I'm just going to try to...
What are your goals? You did... I don't know if you said this on air, on mic.
Probably not.
But you said you're going to settle down this year.
Yeah, I think so.
Did COVID really open your eyes?
I don't know.
You had a brush with death. And you're like, that's it. I've been playing around too long.
I think I have. I think it's just time. I think it's time to... I just feel the urge from somewhere. God's telling me to find a woman and make her your wife. Make her your wife. No,
all right, Sean Connery.
Make her your wife. Yeah, so I don't know. I guess my goal is to get better at being in a relationship. I've just classically never been very good at that. So Maybe
Yeah.
with some practice, I'll try to improve on that this year.
I feel like one time we tried to make an algorithm for relationships.
Did
Yeah.
we?
We thought it didn't pan out.
What was the algorithm?
Well, it was
Get a
it was
relationship.
a set of activities,
Oh yeah.
and then the outcomes changed like your decision pattern. So
Right.
an algorithm, some sort of matrix. It was like a process map.
Yeah. I think I recall this. Yeah. I think it's simple. I think it's just, now that it's a little more simple than it was in my mid-20s. It's just like
But also, you got COVID from your dating efforts.
my escapades. Yeah. So we'll see.
Love in a pandemic. Is it possible?
I think it is. I'm gonna try to lose some pounds. I'm gonna try to have a girlfriend.
Are you going to get into ski shape?
No,
Okay.
but I will. My goal is to make it so my gut doesn't want to just escape my body. It feels, and I'm just constantly having to like pull it in with my abs. Like I want to be able to just.
Welcome to your 30s,
I
pal.
just want to lose. I just want to lose enough weight so that my gut doesn't trying to escape my stomach.
And then the backup
abdomen.
goal is to lose enough weight so that you have a gaunt
Yeah,
Daniel
yeah.
Craig face.
And behind that, the next goal after that is gaunt face. Yeah, yeah. My face has gotten a little fat. That's okay. It's fine.
It's a pandemic.
It's a
That's
pandemic.
what everyone
I got
says.
pandemic face. So we're gonna get gaunt face. We're gonna get dead face.
We're going to get the opposite.
Yeah.
Nice.
Let's see. Pay off my debts. I'm almost there, Lyndon.
Good goals.
I'm almost there. Anyway,
That's our goals for the year.
Yep.
And we've gone over Lucasfilm's goals for the year.
yeah.
Everyone's got goals for the year
Yes.
because life's a mission.
Bye.